Hey Shad, how's it going? Welcome. That is Straight Song from Glass Trade. It's probably the place where the song plays, I would say. Iconoclast, great song. I love that the song actually has like the sound of the water on it. Haven't played the game yet. I might play it someday. I know it's a great game. But yeah. How's it going? A little bit. There you go. We got someone here. It's her. She's here as usual. Yeah. You got new art? Yes, indeed. We got BRV slash starting soon slash thanks for watching art. How many new followers have you gotten so far? I got like 200. It's a little bit crazy. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go here. So before GDQ, shut up, Pandora. Where do we see my channel? There you go. Before GDQ, I had about 500 something. So I would say about 520 maybe. And now it's on 734. Twitch is the one that grows the most, I would say. I got some subs on YouTube too, which is pretty good. And some stuff on like Twitter and such. Glancing through chat, you definitely impress people. Nice. Yeah, I haven't watched anything. I didn't look at chat because I don't wanna do anything that distracts me during a run. So I didn't look at chat a single time. We can look at chat today. Have some ears here. I just want to like analyze a little bit of the run, say some comments, some things that are important, and yeah, because it's a very interesting run. Actually, it is not. This is kind of like, when you get like matches, like important matches on like let's say a chess match or a Go match or whatever, then you can analyze, and it's kind of an historical match and you can say things about it. This is kind of similar because it was actually a very good run. I actually had a lot to say about it. So crazy menu stuff, nice. Let's watch the interview though first. Which one is? Let's see. Payon Beyond the PN. There you go. By the way, Payon Beyond the PN is a great run. I watched it yesterday because I wasn't actually sleepy after my run, even though it was super late, because I slept a lot during the day. So I watched some runs. And I watched this run right here. Payon Beyond the PN is such an hilarious fucking game with an hilarious, amazing runner. Japanese runner that is super, super funny. So I do recommend it. I have no idea about the game, but it was funny.
And now we are all ready for an interview with Spike Vegeta and Pandora Jane.
Yeah. So Spike was actually muted a little bit. I think he started too soon.
2022.
There
I
you
gotta
go.
tell you, chat, I am quite disturbed by that last speedrun we just watched. But Faith Chapter 2,
Yeah, I was disturbed too.
Awesome. And it's good I'm a little bit disturbed as well as being impressed, because we are in the middle of the horror block here at AGDQ 2022. We've had a lot of great runs like that, Dead Rising and many others. And just in a little bit, we will be graced with the GameCube Classic for the first time in a live GDQ, in a main GDQ event, Eternal.
My camera was a little bit frozen right there. I don't know why. I think it's Discord shenanigans. So I got a little bit of PowerPoint with showing the Eternal Darkness.
Darkness being run by the world record holder themselves, Pandora. Pandora, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well.
That's awesome. Yeah, very excited to see this run. Again, like I said, the GameCube classic. And for years, it felt like this game was in a relatively glitchless state. But now, all of a sudden, just over the last 3 or 4 years, discoveries in 2019, 2020, this game has gone sub 90 minutes, you holding the world record. There's even an any percent category that's sub like 10 minutes, sub 9 minutes, even. What has happened? Give me the history lesson. What happened to this game to blow it up?
So back on 2000 up to 2018, the game was almost glitchless, and then
Base sort of.
basically a player named Sir, which is like the absolute MVP of glitch hunting for this game, started discovering more and more glitches. And as I stepped into the game and tried to push the game lower and lower, the whole community and Sir especially kind of got more motivated to discover more and more stuff. So the first like holy grail for this speedrun was Edward's Skip. Edward's is the longest chapter of this game. It's like 20 minutes. And I was actually like optimizing the game
I
to
love
get
that
sub
shirt.
2 hours. I was like 2 hours, 1 minute. And suddenly Sir discovers a way to skip Edward. And then my next run is like 144, like out of nowhere, without practice.
Just like an eighth of the run, just go on.
Yeah, and then
Nice, Yatra.
we keep getting more and more stuff. Eventually, we got FreeCast, which was a big glitch on 2020, where you can move while casting. And then we got cutscene storage, which is a much broken glitch that made us separate categories.
So I actually did my best to condense everything here. So Spike gave me the questions in advance, so I had time to prepare and all that. And the first question was it this one the first? Yeah, this one was the first. So about how do we manage to completely convert this game into what it is today? And the thing is, this story, even though it's not that many years, it's a lot of things happen. So I did my best to condense it. I still quote unquote fail a little bit because Spike were saying that some people told him that he had to do like shorter interviews and all that. So I tried to do as short as possible, but it's really hard to condense all that information, honestly. And the last thing that we got was cutscene restore that made us skip another chapter, and hopefully we can show that today.
Yeah, very excited.
Also, can you hear the interview, or is it too quiet? Because I have the option of the compressor. You can? Okay. I might give you the compressor just a little bit though. Let's see.
To see
Yeah, that's
all
right.
of that being showcased tonight. Again, Eternal Darkness, first time here at AGDQ. So I have to ask the follow-up question for future historians. When we show this game off again in another couple of years, what is the
Hopefully.
number one skip or trick that you would love to be found next in this game?
Well, right now, I would like to don't discover nothing for a little bit of time. The thing is,
Okay.
Sir is always one step ahead of me, like doing the last route. So basically, we still have a lot of tech from 2021 that we haven't like still put it on the run. So we still have we kind of have a route that is kind of in the making to skip about like 5 chapters in a row with cutscene restore. It's similar to what we do with Roberto, but now we're gonna do it with all the other chapters after Roberto and one before Roberto. But it's really technical. I didn't have enough time to go into it for this GDQ. So I'm probably gonna go into it after that. And so after that, I think we can think about new stuff. For now, we still need to like catch up with what's going on.
And that's exciting. That's exciting to hear that the game is kind of, after all these years of basically it being in a little bit more stagnant place, now all of a sudden it's hard for the runners to even keep up with what the game is doing and how it's developing over time. What you just talked about, I feel like, is a microcosm of speedrunning, where just when you feel like you're about to get that PB, feeling like you got that perfect, near perfect run, a new discovery is made, and throw it all back. We got to get it a whole new run with the new stuff in it. But I look forward to your future endeavors in this game. So, with that being said, for tonight's run, for tonight's showcase, is there any particular trick, piece of execution, one bit that you're like, I want to nail this tonight?
The most important trick is Roberto skip. So Roberto, unlike Edward, so Edward we skip 20 minutes of gameplay, but it's really easy to do. Like anyone can do it. We actually one of our commentators, Give Gear, has made like casual runners do it on their streams, just giving their instructions to do it. So it's super easy. But then we have Roberto that is 7 minutes, but it's really tricky. Like you need to do some like Ocarina of Time level stuff. We actually have a lot of glitches shared with Ocarina of Time. Like we have SRM, we have GIM, we have ESS turns. It's really like it's kind of close to it. So so nailing that would be really cool. That's like the milestone I want to get. And then there's like so many glitches on the game. Obviously, I want to get most of them, but I think that's probably the most important turning point on the run.
Everybody in chat.
We're getting a lot of ajajas in the chat. Yeah, so I on the extended answer to that question, of course, Roberto skip, and then after that, the other things that were important for the run is the zombie clips. I was completely fine not getting bronze skip, but I definitely wanted to have like silver skip first try or things like that. The other very important one, which is kind of a one shot, is instakill. I was very, let's say, concerned or worried about instakill actually working. What else? I think those are the main ones. Because with my saving route, I could even afford to fail warm warp and just try it again, things like that. But I feel like instakill, it's probably one of these big ones that if you kind of just fucked up the route, there is not really a way around it. Yeah. And then the other thing is, if you don't get it, you lose like a lot of time. You lose like how much it is? Maybe like 2 minutes or a minute and a half. It depends on your magic. It's probably like 2 minutes.
Make sure when you're getting to that point in the run, again, you call it Roberto skip?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone chat, when that moment comes up, put your hands in the sky. The spirit bomb, we're going to build it up. This is the second spirit bomb reference I've made today on these interviews. Make sure we get the Roberto skip first try. Definitely looking forward to you hitting that. And like you say, just about everything else in the run. Let's have an awesome run here for AGDQ 2022. We're going to kick it back up to the front of Pandora. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I look forward to seeing your run right after this next one. Everyone. Yeah, thank you so much, Pandora. Everybody else, enjoy more AGDQ 2022. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I can't help. I love Ocarina of Time and its history. So I don't just do that for the memes. I am honored that this game has Ocarina of Time level glitches. So after this, there is so there was Pion. That again, I recommended watching Super Fun Run. I also recommending watching Faith Run. Faith Run was amazing, with amazing commentary too. Vin did a really nice
in Fate Chapter 1 as
work.
Well, in the hidden ending for the Mirror Demon.
Super cool stuff. I also found maybe something for Faith, but maybe let's see. Let's see if anyone applied. Thank you for the follow. Might have to get Fate games. Yeah, actually, I think the first two ones, Chapter 1 and 2, are like free, I think. I mean, you can pay Erdorf, of course. It's probably like Name Your Price, which Erdorf definitely deserves it. I think we're gonna get the Unholy Trinity, which is like Chapter 1, 2, and 3 together, probably as a full game. Yo, nice. Okay, so here's a little story. So,
I got into with lots of subtle and less subtle fancier graphic tricks to play off with aesthetic. Yeah, exactly. It has rotoscope animation. It's a really amazing game. So I got to into Fate thanks to Beanie. Not Bean. Bean is the runner. Beanie is a streamer from Vinesos. So okay, so Beanie one day streamed Fate number 1. I watched that. Then later on, Fate number 2 came, and I watched that too. And something I noticed back then that it always it was stuck in my head was this moment right here.
Am I dying? Did I really do that?
So Beanie gets into this part of the game. Usually when you activate this thing, this happens, and you need to go around, like kind of a spiral to get out of these like fences, right? So I always thought, okay, yeah, that's what you do. But Beanie then just does this. Beanie is a casual gamer, by the way. He's not a speedrunner. I mean, he can be a hardcore gamer sometimes, but what I'm trying to say, he's not a speedrunner. That said, he has kind of a natural sense for glitches. He just kind of finds them.
Oh shit.
He just does that. He just goes through that. I don't know. I would have never seen that. He just saw that. There was no collision there, and he just goes there. And so that always was stuck in my head, and I was expecting to see that on the runs, because it's fairly obvious if Beanie does it, right? And so I watched the runs of Chapter 2. First of all, I watched the Chapter 2 run at AGDQ, and it didn't have that thing. And so then I thought, okay, there's something weird here. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe it got patched. Maybe runners do something to control something. Maybe it's not fast or whatever. Then I watched the world record one on speedrun.com. It also doesn't have it. And so just posted in their forum, just in case. Very, very humble, just asking, because I don't know about this. I actually time it. It's about 5 seconds save, I think. Which I bet is very good for this game, because it's not that long. But I bet also this game is also a lot of RNG, so maybe it's not that big at all. I think it's probably not that big at all. But was that even a wall? It looked like an opening. Yeah, it kind of looks like an opening from the side. But yeah, I mean, you can miss stuff, of course. And that's, yeah, there you go.
Oh shit.
And yeah, apparently they didn't know about it, so that's pretty cool. Like, I'm very happy to just help with that. How you doing, Vacuum Man? Thank you for the congrats. Now, don't worry about it, Vacuum Man. It's gonna be on YouTube, so don't worry. There's also the bot that we're gonna watch now, so don't worry about it. You have to sleep. People have to sleep. I wanted to sleep too, but I have to run. I saw you at GDQ. Awesome run. Really enjoy. Thank you so much. So yeah, I really recommend this run. It's super cool. Super cool. And awesome commentary on both Chapter 1. And I think, was it either last year or previous to last year? We got Chapter 1. Also with awesome commentary. Super recommend those runs. Yo, Pata, how you doing? Thank you for G's. I'm dropping halfway through the game. Would love to see more of it. Nice. Hello, everyone. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. GDQ, chat, everyone, looking wherever you're. And I'm here, your runner, Pandora, and I'm presenting you Eternal Darkness for the first time at a GDQ with a very, very interesting category, 80% no cutscene storage. But I'm not alone, sorry. So I'm gonna present to you my
I was
couch.
still nervous.
So
there.
we have Big Nono.
Hello, I'm Big Nono. I also run this game sometimes.
Then we have
The salty
Gibber.
boy.
Hi, I'm Gib Girl. I've run this game a few times.
And we have Cas McDemon.
Hello, I'm Kaz. I speedrun indie platformers, but don't tell anybody.
All right, so we're gonna tell you all about this game, but first, let's start. So, we're gonna start on 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so there's a comment, no cutscene storage, that's different from last time, right? Okay, so 2 things to say about that. There is no quote-unquote last time, because this is the first time at a main GDQ. The last time, you can count it as last time as of a hotfix, because I were on a hotfix with this game 2 times. It was the same category. It's just that maybe I'd submitted as no CS instead of no cutscene storage. I don't remember. What it is different though, and it is like worth if you want to watch both, it is a different route. Yeah. So on the 2 hotfixes, I actually run the exact same route, which was without Roberto Skip. Everything before Roberto Skip. And I guess the only other trick that it wasn't on the run was moving on belt cutscene, because that is pretty hard. And if I can avoid it, I probably will avoid it during that time. Today, I will do it because I'm much, much comfortable with that glitch now. And yeah, we did hotfix twice. Yeah, the first one I think was 2019, maybe. It's on the document timeline. No, actually, it should be 2020. Yeah, 2020. Time capsule 2002. Just this one.
Time capsule. I have Pandora waiting for Eternal Darkness. Sandy's breakfast.
There you go. Joker and Cove. And the other one was Speedruns from the Crypt. Desert Games. I don't know how I got here. I guess thanks to this. I mean, technically, this game has a desert portion, but not that much, you know? But hey.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah, so this one was with Joker and Kaz. So there definitely was some build-up for the actual GDQ. Yeah, it's the second one. I don't remember which one was like better time. Let's see. Yeah, they were pretty similar actually. Like 39 and 40. I was a lot less consistent back then, I guess. The Thundertone was pretty good. Was a 34. And now we need to include a new one, right? Best one so far. We'll do it eventually. Alright. Was the Nutty Rats meme one? Yeah. Yeah, the very first one was the one full of memes. So, anyone, tell me, what is this game about?
Well, you know, this game is Eternal Darkness. Came out in 2002. The intro plot here, this is Alexandra. She's kind of the main character. There's going to be a bunch of characters that we explore through the game. Right now she's experiencing a nightmare. She's going to wake up and she's going to find out that her grandfather was killed in a mysterious fashion. His face was just gone, missing a head. No one knows what happened, so she has to go
Jonas,
to
how you doing?
her grandfather's mansion in Rhode Island and try to figure out what exactly went on. Through the course of the game, we're going to find a book called The Tome.
Okay, so we got a leg target. I was thinking about that. So this is a very useless glitch. Apparently developers left, or maybe they didn't left, but the thing is they wanted at some point to allow you to do leg targets. That's what Dennis said, and then enemies will like crawl, you know, without legs from the floor.
but they discarded because it was too complicated to program and there was already too many details on the game.
Grandfather's mansion.
But you can actually do a leg target sometimes if you try to finish an enemy and then kind of switch target a specific moment or something like that to another enemy.
Rhode Island, and
because you
figure
are
out what exactly went
looking
on.
down. There is. You saw like a tiny, probably like a couple frames of a leg target right there.
Through the course of the game, we're gonna find a book called The Tome of Eternal Darkness. We're gonna read from it in several pages, and each chapter basically is gonna explore these different characters in different.
You runner shirt mirrored.
Carry
Yeah.
forward the knowledge from those chapters.
Yeah, it's the camera is
so that
mirrored.
Alexandra will have that knowledge and progress through the game.
All right, so we're gonna solve these
Quickly done
puzzle right
games,
here.
exactly.
333. Only true Eternal fans will get that. And then after that, we're gonna get the Tome of Eternal Darkness, which
That's
is
half
kind
the
of a
number of the beast.
Necronomicon.
Don't look at the bad hook, exactly.
So Alex is gonna take some time to get
Luigi's
impressed
Mansion
there.
vibes? Yeah, pretty
Because
much.
I punched the door.
Very
when I
similar
opened,
game, actually.
So if any of you can tell me what happens when I punch doors on this game.
Oh yeah.
So when you go through a door, normally on the other side of the door, Alex closes it, or whichever character closes the door and then turns around.
I appreciate the story explanation. I own this game, but I hate playing it myself because it's too spooky. Yeah, that's exactly why we wanted to give some stories explanation, like some intro to every character. Because I always think this, like, not everyone knows the game, and people that play it when they were young, they don't remember everything, you know? It's always good to just give a little bit of commentary that is not actually speedrun. I'm always a fan of that on games that are not that known like this, you know? Like, you can avoid a story if you're doing, like, a Mario World or something, right?
Well, for some reason, if you punch a door on the other side, there's no animation. You're just facing the right way. So it's a very short time save, but there are a lot of doors in this game.
Mystic
so
number because half number of beasts. Yeah, exactly.
Yep, this guy here, his name is Pius Augustus. He's a Roman legionnaire, about 30 BC. Basically, he's just going through the desert. He gets
Takes a
separated
very
from
high
the group,
IQ to
and
understand
he hears
Eternal
some voices
Darkness.
coming from obelisks, and he's like, whoa, I gotta check that out. And so now he's in this creepy underground dungeon, and we're gonna see what happens to him, basically.
You're gonna
So
see
this
the
right here is the first trick. Yeah, go ahead, no. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we're gonna explain the same thing. So these pickups, usually in Eternal Darkness, when you pick up an item, there's this big camera transition that like zooms into the item. However, if you have something in the trajectory of the camera, generally it'll skip that transition, which is much faster. So we try to do that as fast as possible. So it's really important to position yourself correctly when picking up these items.
Yeah, and right here you're gonna see 4 runes. So all these runes and these colors are related to ancients in this
Is this
game.
the original
Elite
Assassin's
gods,
Creed?
if you
Pretty
want.
much.
And also these colors are related to stats in the game. So we have health was the red one. This one is magic, Uyoth. And then we have the green one. This mantra, don't worry about that for now. It's a secret. Don't worry. Don't tell anyone. And then we're gonna go to Celotat, which is the green one. Probably the most interesting. Compared to other horror games, this is the one related to sanity. So if you're familiar with this game, you know that this game likes to mess with the sanity of players and like characters and players themselves, you know, like breaking fourth wall and stuff like that. So as the game progresses, characters will lose sanity when they get observed by enemies, and you're gonna start seeing and hearing things.
Here you're about to see one of the combat mechanics of the game. So Pandora is targeting the different parts of the body. And
Now I got
taking them
regular
off
more
to
Manturok.
progress through this door. You can actually do this later in the game. Specifically target arms.
That's invisible.
Take those off. Target heads,
Spell.
or even the torso, and that's used in a few places to get through faster.
Just activated that button. You gotta believe me. And now I'm gonna punch this portal to do something called portal cancel. We're gonna explain that later. Don't worry about it. We're gonna explain at the end of
Spoilers, we actually never explain it. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
the game. For now, we have to explain what is this. So this is the 3 artifacts. You have to choose the one that shows a path in this game to follow. We're choosing Oya. So for a while, we always knew, like,
Portal
kind of from the
Puncher,
beginning,
exactly.
you know, back to 2005, the first speedrun of this game, that Chaturga was slow. But then there was some discussion. We believed that Celota was faster.
Are sanity effects random or are they seeded? Okay, that's kind of weird question because RNG is seeded by nature, unless I'm like fucking up my definitions, right? Yeah, so the answer is yes because it's both. But basically there is like you get there is RNG. I think they mean they're program ones. Yeah, probably. So basically there's two kinds. There's like fixed. I call them fixed. Like the fixed ones are the ones that always are going to trigger on a specific spot. Like the bathtub thing, or I mean the bathtub. Or some rooms have fixed like inverted room stuff, things like that. Or the Edward cutscene ones. So then you have the random ones, and as Givker is saying now, if the seeds are manipulated. So you can manipulate seeds, both on TIS and on RTA. On TIS, you just do it with attacks. So different inputs from a play will give different seeds, kind of. So if you're just holding, if you're just running, I think you're stuck on a seed. But then if you press either like any spell or do an attack or something, you're gonna change your seed slightly. And so that's how you can trigger different sanity effects from a TIS. You can also pause the game, and if you unpause on every frame, you are always gonna have a different sanity effect. Or there's some frames, like 12 frames with the same sanity effect, things like that. That's a very useful way to just get sanity effects on TISs. The other thing, so for RTA is completely unpractical, but basically every time you load the game, there's gonna be 1 full minute, and then after that full minute, you're gonna get a sanity effect. So remember, only your inputs change the RNG. That means you can load a file and just leave your controller there, don't do anything, and you're always gonna have the same seed, okay? So we actually did that to test Super Undead Glitch back then, because Super Undead Glitch, to trigger it, you need to get a no controller sanity effect, and we wanted to see if that worked on console. So I got a save file on emulator that after a minute of loading will give me always the same sanity effect. I put it on my Wii, we tested, and we got always the same sanity effect, as long as you don't touch the controller for a minute, okay? And that's how we tested that glitch back then. Hadn't seen that controller before? Yeah, these colors are pretty cool. I love this thing. I would love to like have like a, I don't know, like an Eternal Darkness logo or something in the middle. This is Match 4 controller. Those are actually pretty good. For quite a while, and then eventually runners starting to crack Ulyath, and the reasons for that will come on Kareem, essentially. So Kareem is chapter 4. When we get there, we're gonna explain you more about those differences.
Yeah, basically there's a lot
Original
of
Dead Space dismembering mechanic. Look at that.
Game, depending on which path
This
you
game
choose.
got so much stuff
And, if
early.
you play in a casual playthrough, you can play through each of the paths, and it gives you a really cool save file, and there's like a really cool final cut.
I only was watching this on a CRT. I wasn't doing that.
Spawns, that's the most important part.
Wonderful, good evening for Germany. Thank you.
This
How you doing,
is
Segi?
Elia. She's exploring a weird tomb, basically.
Classic
in
ancient
Cambodia
hot
in
pants.
1100
Yeah, pretty much.
She doesn't really know. She's just a dancer. She's just exploring.
There, Pandora tried to do a cutscene merge, where if you did it just right, you could hit the zombie while the cutscene happened. Unfortunately, it looks like she missed it just a little bit. The timing window on that can be a challenge.
I actually got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. We got the cutscene merge. So that doesn't say that much time. It's like 2 seconds, but you use a property of this game that sometimes it allows you to pause on places you're not supposed to, and that makes you recover movement during a cutscene. And so we did that, finish the zombie during one cutscene, trigger the cutscene of the zombie, and then both cutscenes happen at roughly the same time.
The trick's so
Here,
good, you don't
can
even know if they
also-
have it.
Yo, Toast, how's it going? Well, you look like Dr. K guy. What is that? Was that a comment for me?
Yeah, exactly. Here you
I don't
can
know
also
that
do
reference.
a version of that, but it doesn't quite save time in Japanese. It also gives you an invisible area, which is pretty cool, but
Everyone was
avoided a few
spamming
this
that in
time,
the
'cause
chat,
don't
really?
worry, we're gonna have invisible.
What is that?
Characters later.
What you might be noticing is that every now and then Pandora or Elia will move a bit more slowly. So this game, in addition to health,
Around the
magic,
start? I
and
didn't see
sanity,
it.
also
Maybe
has
it got
fourth property
raised? I don't
called
know.
stamina. There's no bar for it, but you'll notice that if you run long enough, your character goes into this
Fucking
exhausted
dots, dude.
animation. Obviously, we want to be able to run
Hang on.
for as much as we can, so we will.
Oh, you shouldn't be watching this though. It's my WhatsApp. Give me a second. I want to see if I can get a number. There. Because I know someone in my family has the number of my stupid neighbor. But I don't have it myself. I must go because of work stuff. Don't worry about it. Thank you for watching. I mean, listen, you were the entire run awake, so... How many followers did you get? I got 200. Like 220 or so.
Move faster, but we also need to recover stamina to do that properly. And it turns out that when we're
Just hissing a little bit to the
sneaking,
dogs.
that slow type of movement, you actually gain double the amount of stamina you do just by walking around normally. And the game never tells you that. The only reason people know about this is because they looked at the
Yeah, hello,
game's memory and
Solominger.
saw
How you
that.
doing?
So yeah, governing stamina is going to be
Thank you,
really
thank you.
really important throughout the run.
And Pandora's has routed her stamina usage very specifically, so basically she's memorized.
Did this game graphics got updated at all on the Wii version? Is it emulator? Okay, so this is not a Wii version. This is the same game, just playing on a Wii. The graphics are from my capture card, and actually they don't look as great here. So I guess I'm glad that they look great for that chat member. It looks way better on my CRT actually, and they would look better if I had like a component capture. I guess an HD converter works too, but I fear that would delay some stuff. I'm not sure. I also don't know how to make those work really. I wish GDQ made it clearer. Yeah. So basically, when you submit, you need to submit console, and nobody really tells you if it's really like original console or the console you're playing in. I mean, I think I asked, and they told me put the one it is in. Is it anywhere? I don't remember what I put on actually, but the thing is, I think they asked you for the console you use, and yeah, we never talk about it too. I also below the game name. Where? No cuts in storage. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually a lot of space in that banner right there. So they could put, like CG maybe, and then parentheses played on Wii. I don't know, but I'm alright. We didn't explain that. I actually missed that. I think we even missed that on the practice sessions, talking about consoles itself and why we play on Wii. But yeah, it's all good. Your catch was awesome as well. Everyone did great. It was really fun to watch. Nice. Yeah, we did some practice sessions. We actually did we did 2 practice sessions and 2 long calls of explaining and just chill talk about the run.
Every single place that she needs to sneak.
And now we're gonna get to this. Oh, also, another thing to mention. So this is more or less how the game looks on my CRT in terms of light, because the light of this game is optimized for CRT. When you capture this, or when you play from emulator, it looks way darker. So maybe that's why these people catch on that. Because I actually use a filter for this, for GDQ. I have a slight filter for gamma, so it looks a tiny bit clearer, because, the bright system of this game kind of sucks. Big thing right there, with eyes and mouths and all sorts of things. So this is a very important character of the game. It's Mantarok. Can any of you tell me what is this thing?
Oh, we love Mantarok. He is the 4th ancient, basically. He's I think they call him the dead god. Basically, Pius Augustus at the beginning, when he chose that artifact, he got turned into a lich. And he's going to spend about 2,000 years trying to summon his ancient, whichever artifact you chose that corresponds to. And Mantarok was trying to interfere, basically. And
yeah, you can talk Spanish. I will answer in English,
behind
though.
The scenes to affect fate and
influence
these characters in a way that benefits him. But none of this is really apparent in the speedrun, obviously. Play the game, check it out, it's very fun. He's imprisoned currently due to the actions of Pius, so Mantarok's just stuck there.
Yeah, I always thought about Mantarok as of exactly Leviathan. More like either feminine or like OLED. Yeah, maybe it looks cool there. Actually.
Oh sure, yeah.
Compared to the other ones. The cute god. All right, we have time for one donation here.
Absolutely, we've got.
Watson, no sé si tú entiendes inglés. Puedes hablar en español en el chat, no hay problema. Pero yo voy a responder en inglés. Eso. Pero podía hablar en español.
A lot of donations coming in about this. I'm going to try this one. We've got L Flav with $10. They say, just my luck, I have to work during AGDQ. Luckily, I got home just in time to see one of my all-time favorite games, Eternal Darkness, and my first donation of the week. Oh, and one more thing. May the rats eat your eyes, Cancer! The donations are coming! Thank you so much for that.
Oh, thank you for reading it.
It was a little bit loud. Not gonna lie.
Happy to hear the first mention of the rats already.
Yeah, we're gonna see a bunch of that. Worry not. So
but you missed the
ñ. Anthony, so we're gonna just finish Elia right here.
Where's your ñ?
And the first thing you will see is how the knowledge transfers to Alex. So
where's my
Alex is gonna see this puzzle right here. She's gonna remember, oh, Elia solved this candle puzzle. Now I can solve it myself.
Just a quick reminder to save before Anthony.
Thank you.
Yeah, chat. When Anthony's chapter's ending, you better remind her to save as Anthony is ending. Okay, you have to spam, otherwise the run is ruined. Okay.
This is one of the mechanics the game uses throughout its progress. So as you complete a chapter, you learn things in the chapter, you come back to the house afterwards, and you use what you've just learned in that chapter to go solve an additional puzzle and make further progress. It's really well done.
That's
how it
true.
Uses that.
I have this though. Do you have these? I have this one. That's the only one we have for stuff like Pinguino. Because if you don't put it, then it will be Pinguino. Or, yeah, Pinguino. So we have that one, and I think that's the only one we have. We also have, like, just all the tildes. Like this, you know, like on every vowel.
but those don't inquire a specific sound for those vowels. Instead, is to inquire accent on a word.
That flow of learning something and then moving into using it immediately.
Exactly.
And here it is.
Non-binary
Anthony.
skeletons
So
rise up.
Anthony is a messenger. He needs to deliver a message to Charlemagne, the actual Charlemagne, because this game is kind of historically based. Because everybody knows, you know, the war is governed by ancient gods, you know, like eldritch gods.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just completely non-fictional. So, Anthony. He's been told, don't look at the message. This is very important. You are not supposed to see it. But Anthony sees it anyways, and he actually gets a curse.
Yeah.
So then his
Anthony,
mission
Antonio,
is to
Toñito.
advert, to warn Charlemagne about this curse, and you're gonna see it right here after this tone dimension. So
Would love to see a port of this to the Switch. Yeah, me too. Even though I don't have a Switch, I would like it for the game.
For most characters to pick up the Tome of Eternal Darkness. This hallway exists out of time and space. You don't really see it in this run, but all the chapters do not follow in chronological order. You'll see some chapters go further in the future, then we go back in time. But yet somehow the characters are learning things that happened after they were born.
Anthony's Liquid Snake, yeah.
So yeah, the hallway is a pretty scary place.
I'm very loud too.
Yes.
How entertaining do you think the AD runs are to someone who isn't familiar with the game? I think today they can be pretty entertaining. They still have this thing where there is some spots where you're just kind of just walking, especially at the beginning of the game. Like until Anthony, in a little bit, there's not a lot of flashy stuff. To the untrained eye, at least, you know. Later, there's some stuff, but there is also some space. I think, like, for someone that is completely not familiar with the game, might not be that crazy, maybe. Unless you just give them, like, a highlight of the tricks, you know? Now, for horror fans, I think it can be pretty good, because, especially all horror fans, because I feel like a lot of people are more familiar, you know, with runs that are even slower than this, you know, like Resident Evil and Silent Hill, stuff like that, and barely any glitches. Whereas, you know, here is like, there's a lot of glitches. I feel like it's possible to appreciate, like, free cast if you can't play the game. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Like, it is really, when you play the game, it feels really different because you know how much time you need to spend and how vulnerable you are when you're casting. Like, every casual player knows the feeling of, you know, making a big spell, getting hit at the end of it, and it just gets cancelled. It sucks. Yo, thank you for the follow. Thank you for that. It was a cool run indeed. You have a very good time.
I've never been able to figure out if you're just walking on the images of screaming faces or actually feel screaming faces when you walk down the hallway.
Oh, those poor faces.
I sure hope it's the former.
Probably a second one, yeah. Alright, battle system. So here we got a zombie. To defeat enemies, you have to defeat all their body parts. And you can actually defeat some parts several times if you don't cut them. That's what we do right there with the fist. And then we switch to the sword to actually defeat that part again. And that completely destroys that enemy. Okay, so we're gonna burn some zombies, and if any of you can tell me, like, from that enemy,
This fucking zombie trolled me so much.
A rune, so what is all about runes and magic on this game?
Yeah, this game has a pretty cool magic system. It kind of has a
noun, there's the Dr. K
alignment that you combine for every.
Can be Dr. K daughter. What is this? Who is Dr. K? It's probably not this, right? Oh my god. Hang on. Oh, here it is. Okay, nice. Give me a second. All right. Hola, vecino. Your dogs suck. Please do something about it. All right, there you go. Let's see what he does. I know how you would get dogs to shut up. It's very easy. Okay, listen. I have this neighbor. There's this neighbor that has like 3 dogs, I think. They are in his house. His house is on the other side of my house. It's not towards my room. It's on the other room, far away. Okay, many meters away. The dogs are in his house. The dogs are happy. They're just relaxed. They have space in the courtyard. All that. Suddenly, I don't know how, the dogs escape. They escape to the passage of we have like a little passage. I don't know how to call it in English, but basically there's like you know, a bunch of neighbors. We pretty much close one of the streets, and so it's a passage. So they escape from the house, they stay on the passage, and they start crying. Alleyway? Yeah, it's kind of an alleyway. They start crying and just barking all the way. Like, please give me attention or something. Or we escape. Please do something. I don't know. They just go crazy. Also, one of them is small enough to even jump the fence of the alleyway and go to the actual street. And the other two get mad at that one because it goes farther away. And it's like, why you can't go there? And start barking. And it's a fucking bark circus. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that his dogs are just going outside. They might get killed by a car, whatever. So, yeah, they can't stop barking if he actually takes care of them. And that's why I needed to message. Also, they chat up for a couple minutes if I hiss at them. That also happens. Take them for a walk. They never do that. I've never seen them take them for a walk. They only do that thing where they just let them like run a little bit on the alleyway. Which, listen, I'm fine if they do it like if they're managing the dogs, you know? Like if my neighbor is right there on the alleyway, you know, taking care of his dog and playing with his dogs, that's good because they don't bark. But now they are just alone there and just like not knowing what to do, you know? Yeah, he's actually very like irresponsible. He at some time he owned a cat too and never took care of it. And we ended up just like taking the cat, like saving the cat because he had a lot of problems with another neighbor. And now it belongs to another neighbor that actually takes care of the cat.
Spell. Right now, Anthony just picked up the 3-point power or circle of power, so he can cast weak spells, and then later on we're gonna pick up the 5 and 7 circles of power, and we're gonna get some bigger spells. Well, not the 5.1, but in a casual playthrough you would. Basically, you have to collect the runes and combine them in a certain way, and you get different spells out of it. You usually would collect in a casual playthrough scrolls and one of those codices that you find on the ground. Codices? How do you...
Yeah, codices.
A codex. You pick up a codex. It tells you what the rune does. We're going to skip all of that. And,
Is the
you
man
can actually
Kazuma
freely mix
Kiryu?
these
Where are we talking
together
about?
to make spells
Yakuza.
before you even
It's
get
interesting.
the scrolls.
Now we're about to see the first skip that was discovered in the
Yeah, the plural of codex is actually codices. I look it up.
game, what we call the urn skip. Normally you have to reassemble 2 or 3 urns, fill them with water, and put them on a stone in this room. Here, Pandora is going to get by the zombie, which
I
is
got
actually the
super
hardest
lucky
part.
right there, right away.
She takes the hit, and by doing the mix, keeps the animation, which lets her cast a spell at this room before the cutscene kicks in. And because the enchant item and the cutscene both use the same flag to tell the player they can't move, the enchant finishes.
Like, I feel stuff like that, for example, even though you don't really know what's going on, just the flashy menu, I think, for what you said before, Toes, I feel like the flashy menus are probably the most interesting part, or like, impressive part, let's say. Maybe not interesting, but I heard a lot of people talking about the flashy menus on this game.
Clears the flag, and then she can run in after this fake bishop character into the door instead of having to go solve the puzzle.
She doesn't need to kill him right there, but it's pretty funny.
We still have to fight it, yeah. We're very fortunate that the door actually has no collision. Like, the collision moves during the cutscene. And then this is the real bishop. So we're gonna fight it very fast here. 3 hits on 1 arm. We're not able to cut the arm because this is partially censored on Japanese. I will never understand that. No. It's your turn for this.
Yeah, so this is actually a relatively new trick in the run that really saved a lot of time, and
we saved the trickiest tricks, especially for Nono.
We're going to set up its first part right here. So when you pick up items in this game, you do it in 3 stages. One is the zoom that we discussed earlier. Second is an examine that brings up a text box. And the third is when you actually get the item. And what Pandora does here, she's going to do a trick that basically allows her to stay in that final state where she's about to get the item. And she's going to have to get this all the way to the end of Anthony's chapter. And if she does this successfully, then we'll be able to save this and use it later during the actual skip.
Oh, that was so
I agree,
fast.
Evelyn.
Yeah, that was actually really good. I usually have more time to explain this.
I'm sorry, Nono.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you didn't have much time to explain that.
Oh.
Okay, so that right there is the first sanity effect we're gonna see. I'm actually gonna use that on purpose because... So you can actually skip that. And getting a first try like I did here, I couldn't skip it. But just for marathon safety, I decided to don't do it. But that was actually a good moment to skip that. Seeing that sanity effect gives me a... Just talking a little bit with my dad. Which, by the way, my dad watched my run. I was so happy. He actually watched some of the previous runs too, just to catch on my run. 3 minutes without another one, which is what I want for the end of this chapter. Right here, I'm purposely going kind of slow. You see that long turn right there? Here, I can't see the chat. Some B prompts.
Go then.
Some messages that the game gives you. If I touch any of any bad B prompt, I'm gonna lose an escape
menu
I have
navigation.
that I need for later.
You can skip sanity effects.
Right,
yes,
now
we
Pandora's
do it
about to
later.
do another small skip. Normally, Anthony runs into this big monster called the Horror in this room. She's actually storing the B prompt from that bookshelf, using it to do an attack while in that state. And the attack moves her forward just enough to get to the other side of the
Yeah, that was a close one, by the way. I feel like I was very close to that trigger.
And now she'll go in, unlock the room, and give Charlemagne the big warning. Oh
And
no.
what do we have to do now?
Chat, spam chat. Spam as hard as you can. Reminder.
We have to save.
I lost so many
Otherwise
runs
there's no run. So don't move.
without
don't do
saving.
anything. Just save immediately on Alex. We're gonna use this save file later. We need
I
it
did
for
even
later.
double save.
Okay, just put it
Just
on
in
your brain,
case.
somewhere in your brain. Remember, it's there, waiting. Okay, we're gonna use it
The looming darkness.
eventually.
All right, cool.
All right, we have. I think we have time for one donation. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We've got $10 from Leonia 19. They say this one goes to the GDQ Tech Crew's choice. What with the Eternal Darkness's fourth wall breaking shenanigans, hopefully nothing in the game scares them too badly.
Aw.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, those fourth wall things really messed me up.
Oh, the bathtub scene? Oh my god.
Right here, we also see some of that mini Metroidvania concept that the game operates on. Alex actually has that key much earlier than at this point in the game, but if you just go up to that door in the second floor and try to use it, it just breaks. But with the enchant spell that we got from Anthony, we can actually fix the key.
Oh, we
and
got a
actually
beanie
continue
save.
to
Look at that.
explore more
Nice.
of the mansion.
And then there's my boy here, Kareem. Kareem is one of these very fun chapters. It's a favorite of a lot of people. It's one of my favorites too because it has so much fight. Kareem is made for war. He's very strong. He has the strongest melee weapon in the game, and he can run forever, which is very good for speedrun.
Yeah, I really wanted to have at least one volume sanity effect during the run. I was prepared for that, but it didn't happen. We got the big one, and I tried to do a joke about it. We also didn't got Sinking Feeling. I was also prepared a joke for that one, just sinking myself. I had like jokes for most of them.
Yep, all the game's characters have different statistics, differing amounts of health, magic power, sanity, speed, and stamina. So some characters, like Kareem, are really good for melee fighting. You can just kind of fight your way through the chapter, taking monsters down left and right. Others, like Max or some characters that we might not even be playing in this run, are much tougher. They're slow, and you really want to avoid fights as much as possible.
Yeah, just a little note on that. Actually, Max and Roberto, even though they're slow, so that makes fighting harder in a way, they actually have very good stats for fighting. Like, you have a lot of health as Roberto. It's a lot. His sword is not that bad. The ones that I think really suck for fighting are like Paul, Elia, of course, because super low HP, and Edward. Like, the cool thing about Edward is you got good weapons, good guns, but apart from that, Edward barely has any HP.
Okay, so we're gonna see some enemies here. We already saw one of them on the previous chapter, but we didn't have that much time to talk about it. So these are the trappers. Trappers are friends.
Base
They
Kareem.
just wanna hug you, but they hug you for like 40 seconds. So it's not very cool. We're just avoiding that for now. They send you to a different dimension basically, and you need to escape from it. So we don't want that for speedrun. Okay, another safety save here. We're gonna prepare for horror skip, so if any of you can help me with that.
Dude, my dream is that we find a way to like get weapons for every chapter. I know my dream is gonna get crushed if we ever get that, because it's probably gonna crash, or just like if you get run down with Alex, it's probably just not gonna have any, either crash or not have any animation, and so it won't attack. But if the dream is true, having Ramdao or like assault rifle for Pius, Jesus fuck, like holy manturg, it would be amazing.
Yeah, so as we saw in Anthony's chapter, actually getting one of these runes,
Also a great
from
idea
an
for a
enemy,
randomizer.
These translucent enemies, actually takes quite a long time because of this long cutscene of them slumping down to the floor and giving you the rune. So what Pandora is going to do here, she's going to do a very precise amount of damage to this horror.
I got the 3
and then
hits.
She's gonna go to the door and
So
get the
from
last
this point,
stitch
I was
there,
like
and if done
almost sure
correctly,
it would work.
She'll be able to do this while going to the other room, and here we get the rune just off screen. The only risk there is that it could soft lock the game. So, you know, there's that. That's why we need a safety save.
And we got
Yeah,
this. That was
possible
pretty good.
crash. Or soft lock. No, it could be a soft lock too, depending on what effect you get. Yeah, so you get a crash on every effect that resets the room. So anything from enemies attacking you, losing your controller, being small, being big, sinking in the floor, all those things crash the game. And then the only one that soft locks the game, because it doesn't crash, is if you get this effect right here, error cutscene. But when you kill the horror, then after that you're gonna get Narcad, but you're gonna get Narcad in your inventory, not in the rune page. Which is very bad, because that means you can't use it for spells. You also can't use it for the barrier. And you're gonna lose it after you beat Kareem, basically. So it's useless. And that's why it's a soft lock. Yeah, it is scary. It is consistent to don't get it if you have a very good early Kareem. That one right there looked like a good one, so I just... Yeah, I don't actually know why it happens. But they can be in your inventory if you kind of interrupt melee weapon in the game. The process of getting the rune.
Yep, upcoming as...
I actually think... I had the feeling that at some point, maybe they were either supposed to be there or something. Because it's super interesting, because when you do this glitch, you see the rune in the inventory, and you can actually examine it. You can see the description, check button, and it gives you the description of the rune, which is not accessible any other way in the game. It's kind of cut content. It is on the game, it is on the files, but there's no way to see it. We now know about all those texts thanks to Toast that hacked the game and found those. But yeah, there's no way to see them intended. The only way we have to see it legit, let's say, is with that glitch. We can see Narrowcat, we can probably see Nedlek, I guess Red Gomor, all the ones where you can cancel and a dead skip. I guess Bangkok too. And then you can see, but then you cannot progress in the game unless you use cutscene storage, I guess.
Kind of a multi-wave fight that Pandora's gonna have to go through. There's gonna be a bunch
could be
of
a
zombies, and normally what happens
read all the
is,
runes.
to finish a zombie
Finish
off,
the
you
game.
need to do a finishing blow, and that'll get rid of the corpse, and that'll load the next wave in. But as it happens, you can actually just watch a cutscene to clear the corpses off the ground, and they'll just unload. Otherwise, you just have to wait for them to disappear or do the finishing mood. So the goal here is just to go through all the waves of zombies as quickly as possible and get out of the room.
The goal here is to see as many rats as you can.
Or as I like to say, may the cats need your thighs.
That too. Okay, now we're gonna switch to the Ramdao, actually.
Click.
And we're gonna be able to also kill these guys on one shot. Now I'm doing a little recovery, and now I need to do a no magic message. So a no magic message is you spam magic, spells, until you run out of magic, and then a message pops in. And if you can hold that message into a cutscene,
that fight was pretty
good.
good.
The message to pause, and you can pause to recover your movement. So right there, I actually move. While you
I always fucked up this menu. Always. Every time I go to fucking create spell for some reason.
That blows my mind every time I see this. Doing all of this off camera. How do you do this, Pandora?
I don't know. That trick right there saves 0.5 seconds though.
That's true, by the way.
But we do it.
I'm not exaggerating. I time it, and it needs that.
So right here, there might be a trapper, so I need to sneak a little bit. Trappers don't actually see.
The reason of that is because...
So there's gonna be some spots where I'm gonna sneak.
You still can't fight the... the zombies are not burnable until a certain part of the cutscene. So you still need to wait a little bit inside of the cutscene, not doing anything. Otherwise, it would save a lot more, 3 seconds maybe.
Do other walking techniques. But for now, we're gonna get ready for a very interesting and intricate fight.
Yes, and I did want to mention before this comes up, the thing about spells is in this game you have to stand still to cast them. Otherwise, if you move or you get hit, they fizzle, and you have to you just lose magic and you can't do it. So right here, Pandora's going to do something called a free cast, which will allow her to move. She's going to do a free enchant into the barrier cutscene upcoming in this hallways, there's going to be a barrier, and that'll allow her to move behind the barrier as it spawns. So normally you're supposed to wait for these waves of enemies to cross the barrier, and then you fight them one by one. But what she's going to do is going to fight all these behind it as the barrier is up. And so the goal here is to clear the enemies in a very specific sequence. She's planned all this out. The waves will come in, and at the final wave, she'll have to fight a horror. So the goal is to fight the horror as fast as possible. She's going to use the cutscene thing again to clear the corpses as quickly as possible. You may also notice that she'll move away from the explosions with the blue zombies. They kind of do like an area of effect, so she'll run off screen for that. And you may also notice that
we got a little bit of lag.
Kind of laggy because of just how close to
it was more noticeable.
Is. So
yeah, like
a funny side
after
effect.
the recovery here, I think it was fairly noticeable. Not that but it wasn't bad. That's good.
Yeah, Pandora's making this look easy, but this is not an easy fight. There's not a lot of space. It is really easy to get pinned by the zombies, pinned up against walls, take a lot of damage.
And then I got kind of unlucky on this horror.
Run this fight this cleanly in this little space.
That's Sager. 2 hits and he didn't die.
He's also making use of animation cancels right here by unequipping.
Now the good thing is I didn't have to use any free gas right here. Just animation cancels did it.
So you can use the weapon faster.
She will use that again much later.
So the backup, that's probably my cleanest backup so far.
Yeah,
I usually always had to use at least one recovery.
This is why it's such an advanced technique, because to survive this, you really need to have your wits about you and know a lot of backups in case anything goes wrong, because this can really easily result in career
Fighting behind the barrier saves like 17 seconds.
Right there at the end.
So even with those backups, I'm still saving time from not fighting behind the barrier.
Before the last cutscene starts. And then I can use that message to move during the cutscene. Then I cancel it with a trigger, and I can walk into the artifact very, very quickly. All right, here there's time for another
Captain.
donation.
How are you doing?
Absolutely.
Welcome.
We've got $25 from Tumis that says, shout out to the marble tiles with the screaming faces inside. Thank you very much for those.
Yo, shout outs to those faces.
The skeleton pug.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we ended up explaining God's Storage a little bit late. I think we did it, maybe on Paul. Because I just kind of forgot. The thing is, even though we have a bunch of time on Elia and Pius, we still sometimes get carried away by other stuff, and so we didn't explain that. But yeah, because someone in the chat said like, but she's watching cutscenes, and there's like no cutscene story. Yeah, it's because but we'll explain it later.
Some of them actually
Only
look
2
very,
people
very
know
happy.
that joke.
Only me and Nono.
It's me and Nono.
We ran last night. I'm glad you like it.
All right, so we're gonna get to Max. Max is the first, like, family-related character to Alex.
Yeah. Do we know how far back he goes?
him.
If it's like a great-grandfather? Or...
Yeah,
Like
it could be probably like the grandfather of Edward, I would say.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know how that translates into grand. No idea.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, this guy's name is...
That's the game down to 10
a
minutes,
long time ago.
yes.
This guy's from about 1760 AD. You can tell this is the same
We're gonna
mansion.
cut it even more.
That's another cool thing about this game is it revisits locations, but everything's different, so you can kind of figure out what happens over time.
Basically, so that's very cool. I like that there's a lot of people answering that, people that I've never seen their names, you know? Like either they did their homework looking at the leaderboard or something. So that's, I'm glad.
His mansion,
I like
there's
that.
something weird going on. It kind of has. that's the story. You can tell that he has
the servants are actually servants
The
of
marvel
devil.
with the
That's
screaming
what's going on.
man inside.
He actually has a really cool voice actor that goes for a lot of the voice talent for this game.
Cheetah representing
This voice
horror
actor
block,
is actually
yes.
the same guy who
Rebecca
played
was
Jeff Porkins in Star Wars.
playing
If you wanna go
Tormented
look that
Souls.
up
She
and
tells
know who that is.
Chilean and another amazing runner.
Just think about the guy who tells Luke, stay on target.
That guy.
Yeah, we actually didn't have time to touch on this, but there are a lot of great voice actors in this game. A lot of overlap with.
This was an
Metal Gear
amazing
Solid.
horror.
For
That
example,
position is so
Alex's
lovely.
Voice actor is.
You have
Jennifer
no
Leo.
idea how satisfying it is to get a position like
Also,
that.
shout outs to Horror
Makes
Steve
it
right
so
there.
easy.
one's really interesting. Pandora moves very carefully to get in a specific spot. She wants to shoot the horror in the left arm twice from behind. First, you do double damage if you hit from behind, but more importantly for that horror, is for some reason,
N64 logo.
the horror's
Yeah.
left arm is the weakest part of its body. Not both arms,
Sideways.
not the arms in general, just specifically the left arm, which is significantly weaker than the right arm. 2 shots from the flintlock is all it takes to kill that horror.
No love for us lefties. Oh.
Oh.
And now we're gonna see another
Yeah,
use
Link
of
was
free
lefty.
cast. Let's
Until
give a quick
we.
explanation of what that is.
That's unfair.
So, as was mentioned, normally when you cast a spell, you have to
I
stand
feel
still and wait for the
represented by
runes of the
Link
spell to
before
appear
because he
you
was
can
lefty
move,
like me.
And moving causes this to fizzle. That's a lot of time spent just standing still, especially later with the big spells. It turns out that if you start casting a spell, open up the menu, go to manually cast an enchant item, go far enough up till it asks you which item to enchant, and then exit out, it loses track of the previous spell for tracking if you're moving. So you can just start walking away and the spell still casts.
Oh, I thought I unmuted. Okay, thank you. So, Lefty Gun. Yeah, let's go Lefty Gun. So, something happened on the horror fight with my targeting that I just failed one of the shots, which kind of sucked. Okay, give me a second. I want to see if the neighbor answer me.
You could
Hello, neighbor. I hate you. Nope. Not yet. Okay.
actually even stack those together to cast multiple spells at once. This is done a little bit later.
This menu was great.
You have to be very careful. If there are enough spell or spell-like effects happening in the game at once,
that was a good sequence. I hate when I fail this sequence, but I love when I get
Pandora
it.
is setting up some shortcuts for spells.
Because it saves a lot of time. I mean, it doesn't save that much time, but when you get it nice, you know, it's good.
So,
it feels good. It's
menuing
about
really
like
important
confidence
parts about
too.
this game. A lot of setups for shortcuts and lots of things that you do in the menu. So I saw a little bit of that there, and we'll see lots more when Pandora gets access to bigger spells.
Here's another quick death skip that Pandora is doing. She's going to go down the well immediately.
Does the run get the mantra rune? No. But if we get 100% into GDQ, you can see it.
Animation and barely know what even happened.
That one's
Trust
super
me,
funny.
she picked up a rune there.
Yeah, she got a rune. He just fires a
This
gun
one
in a
right
room.
here.
It's like, what is this guy doing?
So at this point in the chapter, Max goes below the house and finds out that there's this evil city right underneath his house, filled with the creatures that we're gonna see here, the Guardians. And this serves as sort of the first actual boss fight of the game. And also one of the first points where there's a lot of effective RNG on how fast.
Which commentator talk more about the game? We did our best with that. It's hard because there's a lot of tech.
Everyday stuff.
I feel like we talk enough about it.
Pandora's using
So actually, I kind of did that because of GDQ. On smaller marathons, I actually talk pretty much just about the game. Like I remember when I did was it the first SRE marathon? Yeah, I pretty much just talk about the story of the game. Almost no glitches. And people like it a lot. It's hard to find a balance, you know, like but yeah, I think we got a decent balance. It was heavily towards tricks for sure, but the thing is, I feel like today there's not too much of an option to because of how much tech this game has and how much things happens behind the curtains. And I feel like that's just kind of interesting. I at least I feel that way. I feel like before, if we got this game, you know, on my first try for GDQ, which was, you know, like 6 tries ago, because we got here like on 6th try at GDQ, then it was more glitchless. No, not glitchless, really, but but did we got Edward skip? I guess we got just Edward skip, but not that much stuff. So then, back then, there was more of a possibility of talking more about this story because you weren't talking about glitches all the time. That kind of depends on the run too. In some glitched runs, it's hard to follow what the heck happens on screen. In others, it's obvious. Yeah. Two platformers like Mario's and Sonic's, they're easy for unfamiliar viewers. Yeah. Yeah, the thing about those games in particular, Mario's and Sonic's, is everybody knows those games, so you actually don't have to talk about the game. You don't have to talk about the story because everyone knows the story. That's what's different from this game. Not everyone knows the story. But at the same time, there's just so much tech. And even though I want the casual audience to understand, to be entertained by the game, I also want the hardcore audience, you know, the speedrunner audience, to see how sick this game is in terms of speedrun. That's also very important for me, even if it means less audience, because I really want people to get, you know, we got fucking GIM SRM on this game. Like, come on, it's great. Yeah, exactly.
The flintlock pistols in this chapter, a lot of people will use melee because those pistols are only one shot, but they do a lot of damage. And if you're able to just target them properly, you can take down this Guardian much, much faster than if you try to use any melee weapons.
Nice RNG. Yeah, that was a good fight. That teleport is why this fight is RNG dependent.
That was pretty crazy, actually.
How long and where the Guardian teleports to is very random, but that
like
was really
I'm
good.
tempted to think if that was a gold
max. Wow. Did you restore his sanity at the end? That's some.
Kind of want to time it, because I feel like it shouldn't. I didn't. Did I say between Kareem and this? I don't know. It's just that Guardian was insanely fast. For the rest, that was a pretty good chapter 2. So you know what? We're gonna time it.
Nice RNG. Yeah, that was a good fight. That teleport is why this fight is RNG dependent.
Okay. 30, 54, 6.
This is not
Cutscene at the end.
You have your wits about you and know a lot of backups in case anything goes wrong, because this can really easily result in
25, 08, 6. Okay, so that is 5, 46. Okay, I don't think it is a gold. Let's see. Damn. Cutscene storage? No. No cutscene storage. It is not a gold. Okay, so something. What I wonder what was slow on that max. Because it's 5 seconds over gold. My gold was actually on my record. Yeah, it's 5 seconds over it. Which is kind of a lot of time. I wonder what it was. Maybe it was just menu. It could have been just menu, honestly. That's how much menu is a thing.
And this serves as sort of the first actual
properly, you can take
dependent. How long and where the Guardian teleports to is very random, but that was really good.
That was probably close
Cute
to a
runner,
gold
thank
max.
Wow. Did you restore sanity at the end? That's so nice of you.
Yeah, so that's to avoid a sanity effect here. We have ways to avoid it. Is the sequel sanity effect that you get with Kareem. After every Kareem, it can get activated. If you actually have more than 50% sanity at the end of a chapter, you just don't get it at all.
Yeah, for those of you who have played the game, she's talking about the little pop-up you get that tells you that the game is concluded in its sequel and leaves it there just long enough for you to get confused before that goes away as a sanity effect. If you have enough sanity, or if you cast a spell and cancel it really quick or upon coming back, you don't see that pop-up.
All right, we're getting to the arguably the hardest chapter, speedrun wise, and for some people also like casual wise, because of all the traps, the Indiana Jones traps.
Yeah, there's so many traps in this chapter. This guy's name is Lindsay. He's basically exploring the same place that Ellie was at back in the 80s. He's just, you know, Indiana Jones basically. We're starting this chapter off
Like
with,
I got a demo,
skip.
a demo disc.
Basically, Pandora's gonna set up a barrier
Got trapped
after she gets hit by this gatekeeper. It summons a zombie. The zombie's gonna latch onto her. She's gonna shake the zombie off. It's gonna bounce into the barrier and push her into the wall in a very specific location. It's a very tricky skip because there's a bunch of layers to this wall. And if this fails,
yeah, I think I probably screamed too or something like that. I hear people that actually like try to disconnect their console, you know, to prevent the game from being deleted.
Yeah,
Alright, so this is the Reaper. It's gonna summon a zombie for
Which,
me.
by the way, doesn't
Then
delete
we're
your
gonna
save
kill it,
files,
'cause
because
it
the save
picks
is
you up.
ready
That zombie
before
looks at
the
a decent
effect starts.
position. I've seen better, so we're gonna.
So
move
you're
it.
still
Ooh,
safe.
that movement. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but we're gonna put it right there.
It's probably one of the things
Barrier
that
right here.
Nintendo, you know, maybe push, because that's like Dennis always talks about how hard it was for them to put that sanity on because of all the quality control of Nintendo. But one thing, the thing is actually very, very clever because it saves the game before the sanity starts. And so the game is just saved. Some people think it is, you have to save again after the sanity effect, but no, the game is already saved. So even if, you know, you get crazy or something and you try to turn it like off or something, even before the thing started, it was saved. So
Free cast it so
Super
I can
safe.
move, go to this corner, put
That's super
myself in a
clever.
very specific position, and hopefully clip into this wall. Let's see.
yeah, so
Oh,
I
I
think I actually got a very good position with the zombie and a good angle, but I think my barrier was too far away.
Through here.
Now that I look at
Free
it.
cast it so I can
Yeah, that barrier
better.
looks a little
So
bit
we're gonna
far
move
away.
it. Ooh, that movement.
That sucks because that's the easiest part.
I'm not the biggest fan of that, but we're gonna put it right there.
Yeah, that's too far away.
Do a barrier right here. Free cast.
So there's kind of a line, a big line in the middle. There's many lines, but there's one line that it's like more important than the others. That's kind of the half point in the door. You actually want to be a tiny bit to the right of that line. You can still get it right in the middle, but it's very tight. And this one, I actually think I was a tiny bit to the left. So I think the triangle that we're trying to make here, with the collision and the wall and the zombie and all that, was a little bit too big.
So I can move, go to this corner, put myself in a
Yo,
very
JG,
specific
how's it
position, and hopefully clip into this wall. Let's see. Oh, I actually
Yeah,
clip
there was
from
way too much
the
space
layers.
there. You need less space,
But I need
so
like,
the
3
zombie
layers.
actually clips you more.
But that was like super close actually. I think it was a very good angle actually. Ooh, that's one trap.
Ooh, okay.
That's one trapper.
That was scary.
Yeah, that first zombie clip is really tough. The positioning and the timing is.
The trapper
very
also
difficult.
trolled
It's
me
not a very
on
consistent
target, just like the horror.
Yeah, it's definitely on the high tier of like difficulty of glitches of this game. One of the hardest tricks in the game. We have a backup though. Like basically something we're gonna do here. We're gonna move in the cutscene where I normally put the necklace. So for that we're gonna set up a reveal here. We're gonna mix it with an enchant. Then I'm gonna move here, I'm gonna press B, then match start, use this thing and do a no magic message. during this cutscene, then recover my camera going through a trigger, and we can move during that cutscene. You're not allowed to usually move during that cutscene. And if you take too much, you're actually gonna see the next part of the cutscene in a different room.
Yeah, Pandora's just gotten tired of waiting through cutscenes, so she just starts moving once they start.
Okay, and now we're coming for Silver Skip. So I'm gonna let you people explain that.
Oh yeah, well here's another zombie clip. Here we go.
Take two.
See if it works.
This one's a lot easier, a lot more consistent. Let's see if it happens.
Yeah, so that was scary, by the way.
Through.
The zombie got a pretty bad angle.
Through.
Okay, so when you get a bad angle like that, what you're supposed to do is you need to delay your berry a little bit. I think I delayed a little bit too much because I got all my magic sucked up right here. But that was just to be extra safe, you know? Because, again, if you get a bad angle and you do your damage field just too early with a bad angle, you're gonna fail this. There's no way you're gonna get it.
Really specific platform that you're supposed to aim for because there's not a lot of collision back there. Otherwise, you just fall into eternal darkness, if you will.
Yeah.
We rehearsed
There's
that one.
no way to get back up.
All right, so we're setting up here
Infinite
for a very
gravity
cool
and all that.
little skip coming up. One thing you need to know to understand this is whenever there's
I think had
cutscene
enough
in this
magic
game
for
where
recovery
it seems
here.
like the character isn't there.
That's why Snake.
The character is always loaded. It's just off screen or is made
Because
invisible.
my magic was
But
like
it's
just
there.
perfectly
And
for
if you
always
manage to
skip.
get yourself into a position where you can move in the cutscene, you can
I'm also very
actually,
glad we got always skip.
interact with the room as if it's part of the usual gameplay. So what we're gonna see here, Pandora is gonna stack a few spells to get a text prompt, and this is going to allow her to move in the scene coming up, right here. And if done correctly, you can actually get to the other side of that floor through the cutscene. The side effect of that is that because the character was invisible during the cutscene, it's also invisible during this. So we're just a floating sword for a while.
Yeah, this time we're gonna be a floating gun. Because
we're a floating gun this time. Nice.
Yeah, that's something, a little variation, just a little variety. Basically, when you don't get bronze skip, the gun is a little bit closer, so we're gonna be a flying handgun right here.
You'd think we were playing Control instead.
And then we're gonna get here, and sadly, this cutscene right here makes Lindsay visible again. Yeah, I was thinking of doing a moving recovery here, actually.
Aw.
We'll always have the memories of the floating gun.
You stuck it with my mom now. Alright, so now we're gonna clean the last puzzle, which is the gold one. We were talking about the neighbor. And after that, we're gonna get a sanity effect of
And the dogs.
Edward talking to Alex. And that sanity effect, I like it because it's gonna give me a free minute of no sanity effects. But then, after that's concluded, I actually need to start manipulating them.
Yeah, there actually is a lot of sanity effect manipulation during this run. Sanity effects typically have a cooldown after each one, so if you get a sanity effect and it's a good one and it doesn't take very much time, that's pretty good. Then you won't have to worry about sanity effects for a while, because some of them waste a lot of time. You might go into a room and it's a hallucination. There might be a bunch of ammo on the ground that's fake and you have to reload. A lot of wasteful stuff.
I feel like
basically.
around
So,
here I should have done a recovery.
One manipulation that we do
A free,
is
like
that,
an explosion list.
There's something called bleeding walls that only happens when you're at between 50 and 75%.
I did it later and it was a little bit
Nothing
scary.
happens, It's just that the walls are bleeding basically, and it lasts for 2 minutes, and then there's 1 minute of cooldown afterwards. So negates sanity effects for 3 minutes. There's also Explosion. This is guaranteed if you try to do a recovery under 50% sanity, which gives you about 10 seconds of no other sanity effects. So, does anybody want to explain that one?
Like, if I don't do explosionless on this room, then you're low health for the rest of the chapter, pretty much. So you have to, like, if you're going for this route, you need to know how to do explosionless. Otherwise, it's gonna suck.
Yes, so Explosion is a sanity effect that will happen only once per playthrough.
You can get a recovery
and it starts,
without triggering an explosion,
the flag
basically.
for it gets set somewhere around this chapter. And it happens when you try to do a recovery. So we actually
got
use
another
this
one right
to
here.
our benefit, because it means that if we do a recovery and cancel it, we don't get the explosion, but we do get the cooldown. So every now and then you'll see the magic stat go
And
down.
I'm also
and that just
manipulating
means that
sanity
Pandora,
effects with
while
that at the
moving,
same time.
Is doing a recovery to get the explosion to get the cooldown. And that's going to be used for a very long time until we have to use that explosion for something coming up.
You can use a recovery if you start freecast with another spell. Yeah, that's what we do, right?
Cutscene. So there's some cutscenes where you can actually cast a spell right as you just enter the cutscene, because like with the momentum of the character. That one is in about 8-frame window. You just go for it if you get it.
You need to cancel it though, right?
Inside of the cutscene. If you don't
Like
get
if
it,
you don't
well,
actually
you do it somewhere
cancel
else.
the previous one, I think you
I always try to
explode.
go
You
for
still
those.
explode. That's why I usually wait just a tiny bit
And right
before I
here,
move when I do
you can see
explosionless.
this floating thing on top of my head. What is that thing about?
Yeah, I mean explosionless recoveries, by the way. No
That is
explosionless like
The magic pool
routes
spell.
where you
You
don't
the
have
ability to
explosion even
cast this
set up.
Magic pool, which,
Yeah.
depending on the alignment you choose,
How you doing,
will
sir, by the way?
regenerate whichever statistic you select. Red gives you health, blue gives you magic, and so on. This is an extremely powerful spell. It actually only tells you about it much later in the run, but you have the runes to create it in Lindsay's chapter. Keeping pools up is a good way to keep your health up, keep your magic up, and through very frequent use of those, you can make the game much
magic
easier
recovery
if
is
you so
useless
desire.
casually. So there's something interesting. So, in words of Dennis, he wanted to make a system where you would recover magic. To recover magic, you had to trade sanity. Okay, so there was kind of a very important stat management between sanity and magic, but they figured that it was too complicated to do that. Also, you would need some sort of respawning enemies in some places, to get more sanity, because there is a point where you just can't get more sanity if you run out of magic too, So the purpose of the magic recovery was to trade that. So you would do magic recovery and it would suck some sanity and give your magic back. Later they kind of thought that was too complicated and they couldn't balance it. Run out of time and all that too. So they just put that as kind of a troll thing. And did so you will recover magic by just walking instead. Now, in speedrun, it's actually useful.
Yeah, go ahead.
With magic refiller,
Now we're about to see
there's a glitch where you can
Pandora
use it to recover more magic
doing
than
the
how
first
much
part,
you
the
input.
big part of what we call Edward skip. Edward's chapter is
Yeah,
later
I
on.
can
It's
see the
it's a really
chat.
long chapter, and we don't want to do it. So what we're doing is doing a free cast of a dispel. Well, we're doing our. Oh, what happened to all your saved games? What did you do?
Oh no!
Oh,
That is not as funny
That's still my
in
favorite
Japanese,
sanity
unless
effect.
you are Japanese, of course.
But she's doing a free cast dispel, comes around, sees the ghost of Max start to walk in this room. The dispel takes over, makes that barrier go away, and lets Alex move. And since ghosts look translucent, but they're still solid, they have to make the collision has to go away for that door.
Yeah, so there's two things right here. One is I purposely never do the skip, because we have a way to completely skip the save deletion sanity effect. So I purposely didn't do any of that, so maybe we could get it, because on this route you are actually more likely to get it because of all the saves you do. And on Marathon even more, you know, because of all the saves. The other thing is I don't actually know how to route that. Like, sir, do you think, like, I'm thinking, because that thing gets activated at some point, but we don't really know when it gets activated. So should I do the trick to avoid it every time, or just the first time it can get activated? It really depends on the route, of course. Where is the first save? Because on older routes, the first save was on Peter, so it was a kind of a guarantee that it could happen there. So it was fine to go for it. Maybe I should just do it always. I don't know. But yeah, on Marathon, I purposely just don't do it, of course, just in case
Ghost to walk in.
we get it.
So as you're moving as Alex, you just
It's
walk on
funnier.
in, trigger the cutscene, and now you've done what you get after completing Edward's
Just in
chapter.
time purpose, so you can see that.
What was that?
Just Max chilling,
Wait, are you
doing his stuff.
Are your saves okay? Did they get deleted? You need that for Anthony. The one for Anthony, right?
Yeah, like I did one right after, I think.
Oh, I hope.
Actually, we're gonna do one on Paul. I don't know what I'm gonna do about the one on Anthony though, because I lost all of
I hope
them.
they're okay. Yeah. Wow. Do you have like a memory card or something?
Yeah, I actually have a backup memory card down here.
Oh, nice.
So if I'm probably gonna plug that on one of Paul's cutscenes.
Okay, solid.
Because we're gonna have a lot of backtrack during this chapter, so.
Yeah, true.
There's some places, you know, on this game you actually run with L and, you know, the stick. So there's some spots where you just run. You can actually play with one hand. So probably on one of those places, I'm just gonna go down and
down,
put one of my.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this guy.
I
is Paul.
stretched that
He's
joke
a
so
Franciscan
much.
monk. He's chilling. He is basically trying to find something called the Hand of Jude. It's like a magical artifact that he heard about. He went on this pilgrimage to this place, and he's trying to find it, but he finds that something is
So
amiss.
again, Ger.
Seems to be a running theme.
No,
And
don't
this
drop
guy that
the
we're about to
camera. What do you
see,
want to do then?
He's a custodian for the area, and he starts telling them some stuff, and they basically have to find some.
What do you want to
evidence
attack the
that,
camera?
Things are not what they seem.
Yeah, and things are definitely not gonna be normal in this room right here.
I fall to the memes here, but it was for a good cause. Alright?
So this is the first part of a moving in cutscene and setting up. Summoning a trapper.
The good
while
cause,
you do
it's
this-
getting this trick, by the way.
This cutscene, then we're gonna pause.
Because
use
it's
a
very
meditation rod
consistent.
To recover movement
It's
during the second part of the
surprisingly
cutscene.
consistent strat.
And then
Believe it or not.
pay attention to this
At least it
movement
helped
right
me a
here.
lot.
I think that's just perfect, so we'll see. If it's just perfect, then I can go just like, may the rats eat your eyes. I am now lost to your cause. The darkness comes. It will damn us all.
It works perfectly. It's crazy.
Excellent timing.
Nicely done.
That is
Dreams
a strat, by the
GDQ
way.
run.
I didn't do that for the memes. No, that is an actual
Dreams for
strat. I
Germany,
use that
they say.
speech
Thank you.
to align my movement because I'm
I'm glad you
moving
like
out
the
of
run.
camera and it's very tricky movement. So that phrase just happens to be perfect to time out your movement where you have to change directions.
Yeah, believe it or not,
Any
my
excuse to hear "May the rats eat your eyes" is a good one.
how's it go?
Yeah, and talking about that, we have time for one donation right here.
Oh, I missed the word.
Sure, I have one. I have a $25
Never mind.
donation from Pius Augustus. It says,
My execution, there you go.
donation of
My
minus
execution actually got
$800,000
better
from Pius Augustus
with that
a comment
strat.
that reads, Mantarok, Pargon, Pargon, Narokath, Margomor, Pargon, Pargon. Which brings us to a grand total
So
of
that was Magromor Narokad. So I mentioned this during the run. I'm sorry, I didn't want to be rude to the Dono. if it looked rude, that wasn't the intention. But that thing doesn't exist. It was just funny.
This can't be happening!
But maybe that was part of the joke, because then
That
it said
spell
this can't be
actually doesn't
happening, you know.
exist, So that's not happening. That definitely was a sanity
That's
effect.
definitely not happening.
Yeah, you don't absorb items on this game, let me tell you. Yeah, it's just me, you know, as a speedrunner, you have to memorize every single rune. You have no choice. So
Don't know the game before?
I
It's
just
a pretty
look at
good
the world
game.
record video and do the same thing.
Oh, okay. But no, that's not how you do it.
Oh no.
All right, so we're gonna open this thing. This
Now, actually, developers wanted to make like every single combination of nouns and verbs on the game
and has a very
for like
name to
20 spells or so,
Suspicious.
or maybe more than that.
Suspicious.
But they ended up
Yeah,
getting
there's
rid
no
of
way that Pius Augustus and
a
Paul
lot
the
of
same
them
are the same
because they
person.
were a little bit
No, yeah, he was from
like
like
redundant.
1360. That's crazy. That's such a long time.
Yeah.
All
Like
right.
for example, the one that the Donna mentioned would be absorb item. Like, what would you do with that spell, for instance? You know, because you have enchant item, right? Like dispel item. You know, we have the dispel. All the dispels are just into one spell. You know, your dispel area actually dispels everything. It dispels items. It dispels areas, of course. It dispels binds. It dispels pulls, and it dispels reveals. Okay, so it's like a super powerful effect. Instead of that, you would have a dispel for each of those, right? Like dispel item, you know, etc. But it is more complicated too. You know, dispel self, yeah, something like that. You know, like.
So here, Pandora is going to use the crossbow reload animation at the door to cancel spell, carry over the animation state, and basically the cutscene doesn't trigger. And this here is Anthony, who we saw before. He is supposed to fight us, but he never really gets up.
Pius Augustus.
Yeah, he said he's just having a bad time.
Anthony has had a really bad life.
And death.
Yep. An interesting note here is that Anthony currently has that two-hand sword that he got in his chapter. If you don't get that sword from the monk in his chapter, at this point Anthony doesn't have the sword. Paul can't get it. And Anthony has to fight back against Paul. Well, zombie Anthony has to fight back with his fists.
Yeah, skeleton jump into that guy's body.
So
Yeah,
that
pretty much.
little walk that you saw me doing right there is because there is a soft lock, a possible soft lock at the exit of that room. Basically, we skip a trigger for a cutscene.
This
at the beginning
fucking
of the
this
Anthem
fucking
fight,
bounty
but that means the
hasn't
trigger's
gave
still
me
there, waiting to be activated. The trigger's very close to the door, but actually the
a
door front is
a fast
little bit
pickup in
bigger
such a
than the trigger
lot.
for the cutscene. So if you manage
And
to just be
now that I think about it, it could be because I'm just skipping the music sheet. You know, like maybe if I walk a little bit closer to it, even you know, I don't need to grab it. That's the reason, but maybe that makes it more likely to happen. I don't know.
just inside that, without triggering the cutscene, you can leave. But if you happen to open the door and trigger the cutscene at the same time, it's a soft lock, so can be scary.
Another thing we're skipping here is the sheet music. There's like a little puzzle you do where you play the organ. You basically use that to unlock the 5-point circle, which gives you 5-point spells. So we're skipping that entire section, and we're not going to have 5-point spells, which is kind of bad because there's going to be a 5-point barrier coming up. Usually you use a 5-point spell to get rid of it. So to get around that, the strat is going to be to basically there's going to be a skip coming up, and we'll explain it as it comes up. Here Pandora is going to try to kill this horror at the same frame that she finishes the puzzle.
Thanks. I keep forgetting because of the stupid dogs. Thank you. So I said on the run that I didn't have enough time to use the crossbow here. I think I actually had enough time. It's just that I accidentally unpause before equipping the crossbow, just like kind of nerves. And then when you unpause, you definitely don't have enough time to use the crossbow because there is like fixed lost frames every time you unpause until the next pause, you know. You can't do frame perfect pause unpause like on some games. How are you doing, Julian?
How's it
Fine,
going,
Perfect.
homie?
Yeah, this time I didn't even go for it because I got very bad animation cancel right there. So yeah, sometimes it's better to just don't go for it. But it's a very tight trick. It saves like 6 seconds, but again,
I didn't even do
perfect,
animation cancels there, by
and
the way.
also very tight.
I just
in
needed
terms of
something to
position
say.
and angle. You try to kill that with a crossbow instead
With
of
the nerves, basically.
the sword. It's very tricky, so we just avoided this time. Right now we're
Enjoying
looking
this
for
review?
bleeding
Nice.
walls, because I want to get bleeding walls. I want my walls to paint themselves. Okay, so if you see any bleeding walls, chat, you just gotta tell me. Okay.
Now, this sucker right here, this was so weird. Because
Bleeding
the
walls, I
horror
want
turn around.
my walls to paint themselves.
Okay, so
if you see
I've been
any bleeding-
I've been experimenting with some strats here. So one strat that I was experimenting with during practice was sneaking a tiny bit here. That makes the green horror don't look at you, and it kills the blue horror immediately. If you don't do that, the green horror turns around and it looks at you, roars instead of fighting the other horror. So now I came back to that strat because it actually, I kind of find it safer because the horror looks at you early. I prefer to get, like if I go low health, I prefer to get it here and I just do a pull than later and then I'm too low for bounties, okay? But this time I did that strat and the horror didn't look at me anyways. It turned around but it didn't look at me. Look at my sanity. It didn't look at me, it just roared.
Just paint themselves walls.
I don't remember if it looked at me later.
You do?
We'll see.
Nice. That means you have your sanity between 50 and 75%.
That's true.
Should be a little bit worried
Feels
about
like
that.
way too much ever since I started speedrunning.
There's
Salty
bleeding
boy.
walls.
Oh, nice.
I saw it. Nice. So
Okay, after
that
Paul, I'm
gives
gonna do a
you
review anyway.
About 3 minutes without sanity effects. There it is. There's another one. So there's basically 3 minutes with a sanity effect with the bleeding walls, and that prevents other sanity effects from happening. So we don't have to worry about any of that. You know, back then
It didn't look at me.
when this game was
This
almost
sucker.
leashless,
It's gonna look at me
we
later.
actually didn't have any of
It
these
didn't
strategies
affect
to
me,
avoid
but
sanity
still.
effects. And there was a lot, and I say a lot of RNG on the run because of that. All right, we have time for another donation here.
Yeah, you got it. We've got $125 from Tetragonos. They say, Yang phase, please. Super excited to see this run, and I want to see us close the gap and choose the
I was looking
longer
for an
run.
Ellie phase dono
First off,
actually.
thank you so much for the donation. That is
I don't know
in
if
reference to our next
we
run,
didn't
Kuon.
got
There
enough
is a
to
battle
get
which is gonna
to
end
one
right
of
at the end
her,
this run for the Yin
or
phase versus
jealous.
Yang phase. There's about a $400 difference.
They
and
missed
I have
it,
word from the
maybe.
runner that the Yang phase is the one to have, but that's the one that's behind. So chat, help out the runner. Let's get the better one. Let's get the donations in for that.
Okay,
His
so now we're
hand
setting
gestures.
for this pool right here. So just like we said before, with a pool we can run forever, which is very handy. I don't need to care about stamina. For now, we have some time to actually talk
Yeah,
about
okay, so
resources.
there's something interesting about that. So you probably saw me doing a lot of this during the run. Like I was playing and then I put the controller down, I do stuff like this. This is actually, it has two purposes for me. One is actually hand relaxation. That's one thing. And the other is just nerve relaxation. Like it's kind of just to cool down myself, basically. Because I was nervous the entire run, basically. Casting X's, yeah.
So,
Just
Japanese,
doing
why do we
spells during the run.
Japanese? Compared to what you would think on many other games, we don't
It's a
run
relaxation
Japanese
technique
because of
that I
text.
use.
Text is almost tied, pretty much, on this game, on Japanese and US versions. Instead, we run because Japanese came out later, and it has faster
Probably
loading
didn't
times.
need to do
Developers had
that
some
much,
extra time to optimize a lot of the stuff.
While
on
you're
memory.
running there.
And thanks to that, it's just your loading times are much faster. It's great. And the other thing we should talk about is the difference. Why is this 80% cutscene storage? Can any of you tell me about that?
I thought the green sanity bar was a direct representation of their sanity that was nowhere between 50 and 75%. Yeah, that is because we explained bleeding walls too late. but actually we got Bleeding Walls about like a minute or a minute and a half before we start explaining it. It's just that you look for it later. The first place where you want to see it is during the horror fight. If you don't see it during the horror fight, which is the place where you actually are between 50 and 75%, and it looks 50 or 75% of the actual amount you see on the bar, by the way, then you start looking for it on the corridors, on the basement, okay? So that's why maybe it got a little bit confusing. But yeah, like that channel member it's kind of right, because we explained it very later, and you look for it later, because it's such a long sanity effect. That's the thing. Yo, Disaster, how you doing?
Yeah, so basically there's a trick in this game called cutscene storage, where by watching a cutscene and doing a frame perfect input, you can actually get yourself to the end of the chapter. And recently it's been discovered that you can even use that trick to get a credits warp. And actually the any percent unrestricted any percent run of this game is now less than 10 minutes long. It's just a bunch of watching cutscenes and doing frame perfect inputs. So obviously, to have a more interesting run, we need to rule that trick out, but that does exist, and it's a separate category in this game.
Alright, now you guys can talk
Pretty good about to play some
scheme
Mario
you were
Maker.
mentioning before.
Nice.
Yep.
With the 5 circle thingy.
Yep, so as I mentioned, the 5-point circle is skipped, so there's no way to really dispel this barrier that's coming up.
Yo, Rebecca, how's
There's a
it
funny
going,
interaction where
homie?
if you are summoning a trapper, you don't have collision, so you can set up a no magic message to bypass the
Do you rest well
there's actually
after that
two
run?
of these kind of skips that you have to do in this room, one to get
Do
in,
you
one to get
recover
out.
your energy?
The first one's pretty hard, actually, because Paul enters a battle
Yeah, my
stance
health
when
is
he
a little
enters
bit
the
low
room, which
here,
kinda
but
messes up the
it's
timing.
just
The
fine.
one on the way out is a little bit easier, and
Great.
I think it looks pretty cool
Nice.
too.
Thank you for the congrats. And GG's to you too, of
Nice.
course.
First try.
It was a very good run. I had a lot of fun. I watched like half of your run because I was still doing other stuff.
Right there. And you can actually get
I'm probably gonna
stuck
watch the
inside
other
of the
half
barrier, and
later.
then there's almost no way to get out.
As soon as I get some time.
Now we're gonna go for second part.
Was it Kane, right? On the mic with you? This fucking duck. Was it? Nice. Hang on, I'm gonna hiss. Hold my phones, Freya. Just a little bit, okay? Time to hiss. Jesus. Yeah, they go crazy because... So, a lot of people go out with their dogs on this street. And when another dog is, going out, they get crazy. Because they're probably thinking, like, oh, our fucking guy never takes us out, right? Hi, I'm Return. My name is Return. How you doing, Gitker? Again. Welcome back.
The next trapper, send a no magic message to be able to move during this trapper. I'm gonna run here.
Now, this was
I'm
pretty
doing
good.
This camera, I'm gonna hold a very specific direction. I'm actually moving out of camera. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we should be close to the door. There you go.
Sertul does the same. He was crazy every time when he sees another dog, yeah.
So that second part is actually, even though it looks like...
I love the name of your dog so
crazier,
much.
Like, it looks flashier, let's say. It's actually way easier than the first part, because you just run forever. Like I said, we don't change our state, or battle state.
All right, now
And
Paul
now
is
incoming. Yeah.
Now
Tell me
Paul's heading
what's
on
gonna
in
happen.
to try and confront
Okay.
the bad
go
guy.
ahead.
It turns out there's a big monster, a black guardian in there to guard the artifact, and he's a lot stronger
Big
than
squitch
Paul,
time.
so all you
He needs
see is
a brother
one big
named
stomp of a
Tassadar,
squish.
I think.
Rip Paul.
Okay, so
Now we go to
normally...
no.
See you, Pablo. Pablito. Pablito. Okay, we're gonna do a small BRV. I need to go to the bathroom and fill my water back. So, let me take this out and this out. We're gonna leave the Trapper Jam and put some music. Let's see. Glass cubes, maybe? Hang on. Just want to be sure. Oh, that's 8 minutes. Oh, but it's a good one. Hang on. No, it's a little bit too much though. I don't want that big of a BRB right now. The 8-minute songs are I usually use those for like when I'm speedrunning Lost Vikings 2 and I want my hands to forget the pain for once. Oh god. Ooh, this song. Okay. This song is great. Lovely. I love it. It's great. You're gonna love it. And we're gonna talk about it. Because I need to rest from the dogs too. El pesto personaje. Brother called Tassadar should be cool, but my parents don't want another dog. Yeah. I like this boy. It looks like a Sterling. Yeah, actually. It's a trapper. This is a Trapper Jam from Eternal Darkness. So we're gonna go for a BRB. I'll be back in a couple minutes. Stick around.
Welcome back. That is this button. This button. From... hang on. It also says Feel the Skies on parentheses. So maybe it's a double name. So that is Como Asesinar a Felipes, which is a kind of a jazz band from Chile. And that is Fit Chino Moreno, which is the rapper, the hip hopper guy on the song. I love it. I love the combination, you know, like I really love Como Asesinar a Felipes. It's a great band. And I didn't know I would like this combination so much. Actually. By the way, is this room image accurate representation of your console collection? Yes. This is my room. It's actually accurate too. On my room. It's pretty accurate. It's not completely accurate, but it's pretty accurate. Yo, Lantis, welcome. So, yeah, I have all of that. I also have... They have a slightly different distribution, though. Like, I have the GameCube on a different spot. The GameCube is with the SNES, actually, on real life. But here I put it with the Wii, because it's more on, you know, on... aligned with that, you know? Yeah, that right here is actually an Eternal Darkness right there. Down there. Aside the PlayStation 2. N64 is the one I know the least among those, but I have Flash Card. Oh, that's really, really nice. Yeah, you can play so much stuff. You should play this one. You should play that one. Nebaer Dirbi. That one's great. Hybrid Heaven. Great game. I also speedrun it. What else do I have here? That's the Japanese Hybrid Heaven. This is the US Hybrid Heaven, slightly different. I have just for Gemini. And my N64 came with this too. Of course. Ocarina of Time. Congratulations, Rajiki Run. I watched the archive as soon as I got home from work. Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, just for Gemini is a great game. It's a little bit too hard sometimes, and it's really hard to finish. So it's a somewhat unfortunate in that sense, but despite that, I really like it. And it's one of those games that definitely, like, it deserves either a remaster or something like that. There's also a vinyl. There's a vinyl of the soundtrack that I kind of want, but it seems hard to get. I think it's out of stock right now. Because that's the other thing. That game has one of the best, almost my favorite soundtrack. Or it's definitely on the top tier of soundtracks of all time for me. Of my favorites. There you go. This thing is gorgeous. But it's sold out. But yeah, apparently they might get stuck again. It's so beautiful. Look at this shit. Amazing. Great art too. Have the best angst. You have StarCraft 64? Yeah, I actually kind of want that. Not gonna lie, I do want to play it again. I actually got to StarCraft through StarCraft 64. And back then, I was very young, and I was a filthy casual, too. And I remember when switching from N64 to PC, the first thing I thought is, oh, PC version sucks because you can only grab 12 units instead of 18, like on the N64. Because, you know, back then I didn't know that you can have groups and you know, there is a way to play properly.
right? But yeah, that was my thought back then. But yeah, that game, like, it sucks because it's an N64. It has rough controllers and all that. But it still holds a place on my heart. Nice Artosis stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah, normally the next chapter would be Roberto, and that's the chapter we want to skip. So we set up the first part of this during Anthony, and now comes the second part. Basically, what we're going to do here is we are going to pick up this chapter page for Roberto from the piano, and that causes the game to set a restore point for a cutscene. What we're going to do is we're going to use our save game from Anthony to move that restore point to the tome room, and we're also going to use the get item state that we saved from Anthony to get an item from that room. And by properly manipulating the memory heap of the game, we make it so that the item that we get is the chapter page for the next chapter for Peter. And that way we completely skip over having to do Roberto.
Also, first try.
Yeah, that was so fast.
Oh, wow.
Very, very good.
You saw that Alexandra exploded right there, so going forward we won't have the option to store the explosion flag, so we'll have to manipulate sanity effects a little bit differently.
I didn't even look at the trapper right there. That was really scary. I didn't pay enough attention. I had no idea a trapper was there. If I were to touch that trapper into a trapper dimension, I actually have no idea what to do. Like, I guess the instant restore is still gonna be there. Yo, Amber, how's it going? Thank you for the raid. Yo, Chic. Hello. Amber says hi. Thanks. Hi to you too. And to Amber. So that was a scary moment. That was a very scary moment. Usually what you do is you make the trapper explode before you lose control of it. But that time I kind of missed that. Good thing we didn't touch it. And later I did the backup of just killing it. I was going to... At first I was kind of going to kill it with a magical attack.
What are you doing?
But then,
right
yeah, you just have the revolver, of
okay,
course.
we're gonna, like...
And the reason why I wanted to kill it, because probably you don't need to kill it. Like, you're not gonna come back here, and it's not really gonna be that much of a problem during this, in terms of it's not gonna catch you or anything. But I don't know about this. Maybe Sir knows. I have no idea if this works if you are on battle stance. That's the thing, you know, like, because we always do this from idle stance, and I fear that the battle stance of Alex could mess something, you know. So just went safe on it and killed the
Flex
trapper.
a little bit. That might actually be... Okay, I'm gonna say preventively.
Thank you for the congrats, Amber.
Oh, I can't say... I actually need to kill it. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah, and I ended up saying that later. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we need to say, so we need to kill it, you're right.
Hanging around in the background there.
Yeah, literally. Okay, I'm gonna wait for change of state right there. I need to be on normal idle state.
I'm so bad at
Do an
ESS.
Turn to attacks on the good Ocarina of Time fashion. It's actually a very precise setup. Now we're gonna come back to this save file. So this save file is the one that you remind me. Thank you so much. So we save right after Anthony with a get item state, you know? So we're gonna watch a cutscene here to set up the restore point. This will make me warp to this room after I use the piano restore that Nono was talking about. And also I got a get item state that I can transfer to this new save file. So what we're attempting to do is using my BPROM storage here on a very specific frame. That's frame perfect right there. And that's gonna open the text on the next room where I teleported. And the item ID I get right there is the Peter page, which is right here. Peter page is usually you get it after Roberto, but this time we just GIM into getting it early. Yes, GIM, just like
I think that was
you know,
better. That Roberto skip, I think, was better than my
really
record.
Hard to explain just how Galaxy Brain that whole skip is. It's really on another level.
Explodes.
We skipped the other chapter later. Just we talked about this.
Explodes.
We did that just by
Gets
doing a
Peter
test,
page.
And skipping Roberto is so much more technical than that.
Yeah, It's a little unfortunate we skip Roberto because there's some really fun tricks.
So the very first part of the piano, you know, the piano restore is actually it's a lot of frames. It's like 12 frames, I think, if you get everything correctly. So as long as you're good with the timing, it is like fairly consistent to get it, and you can say before too. So getting first try is always amazing, but I'm still, you know, like, okay, if I get it, it's I'm hype, but it's fine, it's fair, you know, because you can practice it. The second part though, when you had to get the actual frame perfect attack, that one for me feels kind of random, even though it's always the same timing. It's a frame perfect strat, you know, and those always feel a little bit random. So getting that one first try, I was super hype.
In there, such as the
because that for me is
zombie
like
hover
almost
button,
luck.
walk over air and everything. But maybe if we could see that in the future, if we were able to say get 100% run into GDQ in the future. Ah, yes.
They still have emergency lights
Peter.
here, so it's not
What
full
about Peter?
dark.
You know,
Who's this guy?
Peter, he's a reporter. He's in World War I. He's checking out the Oubliette Cathedral. This is the same place that you saw with Paul and Anthony, so we're retreading old ground, and I have no idea what his story is anymore, actually. It's been so long. We skip all the story. What's up with that?
It's an Amiens.
So let me look at that movement again.
Actually, it's been so long. We skip all the story. What's up with that?
I don't feel like the movement was bad.
Yeah.
I just got trolled by the bone thief.
So,
He's
Fucking
a World
bone
War
thief.
I field reporter.
Look at me right there.
Trying to do some photography of the war, and finds himself in an unfortunate situation.
yeah, an unfortunate situation for me. A bone thief look at me, an extra bone thief. So that means we might see some side effects on this chapter. We'll see about that.
Okay, hang on. How to do watch a 100% no major glitchless run? I don't know if they're talking about this game, because there is a no major, there's a like sort of glitchless run. I kind of want to send that to them to see if they would find it as interesting as this. But yeah, I actually like I've submitted glitchless to this one too, and I'm probably gonna keep doing that and handle next time.
Oh, okay, that is not bad.
That was scary.
Actually, that should be alright. Let me see. Hang on. Cause I think I can still do it. Does that work? Let me just see where my magic is.
Yeah, glitchless handle though, I would never do that. Just glitchless any percent. So
Let me see.
what did I do exactly here? I cast a spell before doing this thing.
We're gonna do
So this spell got cancelled, but not the trapper.
Oh, okay, that is not bad. Actually, that should be alright. Let me see. Hang on. Cause
Yeah, I was
think I can
worried
still
about
do
my
it.
magic.
Does that work? Let me just see where my magic is. Cause that cancel scared me a little bit. Okay, so I think this is still alright.
Yeah, I recovered
Go ahead
my
now.
magic, I think.
I was just gonna say.
I don't really know how that
much of a
works.
misnomer it is to call them bone thieves,
Like,
because
I have no
they
idea.
actually try to enter into your body.
I'm glad
and
it worked like
replace your
that.
Bones, so they're not bone thieves. They're really thieving everything other than your bones.
Yeah, it's the
There's
opposite.
hugging your walls. Bone huggers.
So you may have noticed towards the beginning of the chapter, Pandora summoned a trapper, and she summoned another trapper right there to get rid of that body, so she could get the 7-point circle, and you can see her setting up some spells for shortcuts later. Basically, one thing about this game is when you summon a monster, it removes the other monster from memory. So just keep
Is
that
there
in
a
mind.
mantra
lot of this
percent?
chapter
Yes, and it
basically is setting
sucks.
up for that boss,
Don't watch it.
that one-shot Paul. So it's a big boss. It's a big deal.
But don't run it.
Normally, it takes several minutes of casual playthrough to fight it and kill it. So you probably might have noticed that she saved a little bit earlier, right before that trapper too. So keep that in mind, that there were 2 trappers that were summoned, and there was a save in between. That has to do with later. A lot of this, like I said, is preparation, and part of that preparation is we're going to collect a bunch of items that you wouldn't normally need to in casual playthrough. This happens to affect memory in a certain way with the IDs set up in memory, so.
Yeah, right here, what I've been doing is something similar to what we did on Elia. I'm merging 2 cutscenes right there. One cutscene is the piano cutscene that opens this
This is
cabinet
just
right
the
here
older
for an
runs,
item
yeah.
we need, and the other one is the dispel cutscene.
But I actually have a run of that too. Like, I wasn't joking, by the way. I did have a glitchless, and it's better than all the older. If I actually like if I grind this, I can get it sub 2 hours. Wait, what did I miss? T? No? There you go. This one. This one is a pretty good one. But yeah, I can probably get to sub 2 hours, but I'm not grinding this shit. No thanks. Yeah, glitch. You do glitchless faster than I do glitches. Yeah, because that run still have some tech.
Reveals a secret door. If you
like
you can do one cutscene
exploits,
in the middle
I
of
guess.
the other,
It's like
and the one that
yeah, you know, it's hard to
first
define a
allows you
glitch,
to
of
move.
course, but
And that's why we got that wacky camera after that. So the rifle right here, we don't usually get it for speedrun, you know? Like, we don't really need a rifle, or I guess we need it for this one, you know? We're setting up for something. There's a secret going on here. I guess we need it. I got some bullets right there too, so I guess I don't have enough. Right here, I'm gonna attack this zombie. Oh wait, before, I'm gonna get a little bit bigger.
Oh, this is gonna make the boss so easy. You're gonna look so buff.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. That's unlucky.
Okay, that zombie, I hate that zombie in particular. It's not even in the way, but I just hate it. And then we're gonna wall. Yeah, we're gonna wall through that wall right there. Just like good old cheating Counter-Strike.
Wall hack.
yeah, it takes a lot of time. So some places where I don't need to match directions so much, I use the stick. Like there's a lot of places on some menus and some assignments where I just use the stick because I'm more comfortable with it. But then on long menus where I need to match a direction, I use the D-pad. So for example, on 7 spells, I use D-pad a lot. And on when I create stuff on Lindsay, like for example, like Trapper and Pool, because there is a lot of distance between Tier, Red Gomor, and Tier and Aratak. Yeah. So yeah, you kind of have to get used to use D-pad. D-pad is always more optimal, but I actually like to use stick on some spots because I feel more comfortable not switching too much. But yeah, D-pad is the most optimal for menuing. And the other thing that really helps, like even if you never use D-pad, one of the most important things of this game is learning the amount of times you need to press B and A. So then you can get to the level where you can kind of match it, because you can't really match B, for example, when you're assigning, because if you match it without counting, you're gonna unpause, and then you're gonna lose time. An extra pause is like a second, so you need to count your Bs when you do assignments. And the rule that always works is that you need to press 3 Bs every time you assign something that has only 1 circle of power. And then you'll go back to the menu of spells. But if something has 2 circles of power, at least
like 3 and 7 or 3, 5 and 7, you need an extra B. So there's some spells where you need to press B 4 times, and other spells where you need to press B 3 times. And you need to keep track of which ones you have, you know, more than one. And that's also why we don't create some 3 spells, because then in the menu you only have the 7 spell option, and that actually saves 1B, making it easier for your menu.
Then on this room, we're gonna see another trapper.
Again, we've got another
right
trapper.
There. And then we're gonna see a rat.
That rat is such a troll. It's really easy to think you've got a second trapper, but nope.
Yeah.
Those ones are fine.
Okay, so we have time for 1 donation before we get to the boss.
All right, sounds good. We've got $33.30 from the Camelon. They say, had to donate during one of my favorite games. Pandora's skills are blowing my mind, and commentary has been so insightful. This is my first time staying up past midnight to catch a GDQ run, but hopefully I'll get to bed by 3:33. Thank you very much for that donation.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, for me the run started way after that.
I'm gonna grab my last item right there. I killed those zombies. Those zombies are also objects, just like the items I'm collecting. So right now what I'm doing is I'm modifying my heap, the heap on the memory, by unloading certain objects. We're gonna come back here and use a stale reference. Yes, you hear that right. This is stale reference manipulation in a slightly different fashion than the Zelda games, but it's similar. Okay, so we're right here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
recovering that stale reference from the ID of the last trapper I summoned, and we're gonna use that for something very interesting.
I think when did we start? I think we start before 4 a.m. on Chile. So I guess I like 5 something, I would say. Because Payon actually was super fast. The Payon runner got like 15 minutes ahead of estimate, just like me.
On this fight, okay? So just wait for it. We're gonna get to this boss.
Gotta go do
Remember,
stuff.
This boss
Take care. Yeah, you too.
Paul or friend or beloved friend on one shot.
Yep.
Just insta kill, okay?
Right,
let's see what we can do about it.
10:55 Pacific Standard Time. According to schedule. Okay. So that's like so that's 5 minutes from 6, I guess.
Probably the hardest
you were
boss
right.
in the game, actually. Harder than the last one. We don't have any of that though. Bam.
Oh, okay, it's over.
Or oops. Turns out casting that trapper caused the Black Guardian to die.
Yeah, it was just a big trapper. That's what the Guardian is. It has 3 legs. Oh, it's just a big trapper.
Oh, look, we have an historian.
That still blows my mind every time I see it.
Living near Amiens.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Even before we had that,
Historically
there was another
accurate.
skip. You could use the zombie clip to go back through the glass wall and pick up the artifact, and that's all it takes. But who needs to worry about even that when you can just cast away the Black Guardian?
I'm so glad we got Black Guardian's insta-kill.
So, normally we'd be
I was worried
doing
about that one because he's kind of a one-shot.
And normally we'd be using Explosion to manipulate sanity effects, but we already exploded. So Pandora's going to be doing some different manips. Normally you could do no magic message, but it so happens that we need magic for some stuff, so you can instead use a no creature message for the text box.
Yeah, and this is right here. So that's 1. You gotta match B right after the spell to avoid sanity effects on the next room. And there you go, no sanity effects, so pretty good.
Now, normally what you do here after finishing Peter... Oh, go ahead, you're picking up these items.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, I just grabbed the strongest weapon in the game.
Yep.
But that's for later. Just some
normally
spoilers.
after this point, you'd go in, you'd put the penny in the fuse box, go upstairs, and pick up the page for Edward. Well, the only thing Edward's chapter gives you is the pickaxe, which opens up the secret room.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and lets
doing.
you into the
I'm
safe.
just casting speed on
We
myself.
already took care of that, so we don't need to do Edward's chapter.
Yep, Pandora's also
I do
collecting
need to use the
some-
penny though.
Oh yes, the penny, and we're collecting some extra items here actually. You wouldn't normally need all these items, but it so happens that because we're not going to use Roberto's chapter, It's just going to be an item sitting in Pandora's inventory. So later on, the game tries to clear a bunch of items from your inventory. And if that's on the first section before you scroll down, it'll crash the game. So she has to duplicate some ammo here. Normally they would stack into one pile, but due to that trick she just did, they'll be in separate piles, which will push the reverter page further down in the inventory, which prevents the crash later on.
It's the same reason she still went ahead and used the lucky penny in the fuse box, because that's also another item that will cause a crash if it's in your inventory.
Exactly.
I just want bullets for my trapper, that's all.
All right, now we're on to Michael's chapter. Michael is a firefighter, and he's been working during the Gulf War to put out all the flaming oil wells. Just so happens one of these oil wells was in a bad location, and now Michael has found himself down below.
Yeah, we're lucky that, like, since I save a lot, the chances of getting it are relatively high. It's not guaranteed, of course,
Tricky zombie right
but
there.
they're higher than on a normal run because of all the saving I do.
Donation right here.
All right, we've got $200
So I always look to get it on marathons.
Saturn New
One of the good
Hakai.
things about saving so
They
much.
say I woke up specifically for this run. Hope everyone is in good health, but just in case, Narokath, Sandak, Chaturga. Thank you so much.
That was a real
that
one.
real spell?
I feel better already.
Yeah.
See, it works. We're doing it.
All my stamina is back. Great.
Wow.
Okay, life puzzle.
Chat's so helpful, reminding you to chat, restoring your health like that. It's awesome.
Okay. So we're gonna see a little bit of multicast. I'm just gonna mention that out there, so it's in the back of your brain.
Okay,
just
so
bugging
I
you,
think...
because we're actually gonna explain it later. Okay, we don't.
So I think it maybe got deleted or I missed it, but someone like talk about the music of the game, and everyone is replying to that. So let's just clear something out. So because some people are saying that I had it low or something, I didn't. You can't really turn it up independently of the other sounds. This is as high as you can get. What happens is on this game you get to low sanity very quickly on the speed run, and so the music kind of just fades away. That's the thing. That's what's going on, I think. It's not that I choose to cut the music. I just kind of don't have an option because of how the sanity works. And yeah, it's just that. If I had a glitch to keep the music going on, I would do it. We actually have one, but we don't know how to trigger it. There is a music reset glitch. Sometimes it triggers on Kareem, where doing the Ram Dao, for example, you get back to the music, the Dream of Forever, instead of Ram Dao, and that keeps the Dream of Forever track even after Ram Dao fight, when you have very low sanity and you should be hearing, you know, scary noises. You just hear the music, the amazing music of Kareem. So if I know a way to trigger that, I would do it because I love the music of this game. But yeah, a lot of it is also like developers cut some tracks as soon as you get to certain points, and since we got too fast, you don't get to hear the song, of course. So just to clear that out.
Quite have a lot of time to explain it right now, but basically I'm doing one spell into another one and linking them together. Details are gonna be later on Alex. So something important about Michael, and I got very lucky, is we cannot control sanity effects right here. Just like Cass mentioned, we lost our explosion, which means I cannot manipulate them anymore. I actually need to go for the luck on this chapter.
What year is this character? I think this is like the 90s.
I need to avoid a very good
yeah, because it's Gulf War. It
that
has
allows
to be
me
like
to almost
90s.
completely skip a puzzle of the game where I need to confuse two enemies. Because we used to use explosion right there.
And like even late 90s, I guess.
To just skip that. Instead, we're gonna have to bet on the horrors, on two enemies that need to kill each other. So it can be a very long fight. We're gonna see about that.
Yeah, an interesting trick here. Pandora is going to get a sanity effect here, and she's actually going to use this to her benefit, because if you cast a spell during a sanity effect, the effects still happen, but you get your magic back. And
That's
with
nice,
Michael not
Traverse.
having a lot of magic, that's actually really important.
Very good trappers right there. And now we're gonna confuse these two enemies. So this is a bind spell. Okay.
Okay,
so
I actually don't remember how much this
state.
was.
They're gonna fight each other. The first
It
one
started
that
on
takes
2.
it, and the puzzle is the barrier disappears. Okay, so this fight can basically take between 4 seconds,
That's
which is the insta
10.
kill. We call that the sacred insta kill, and 1 minute and 10, which is a lot of variation. So right here we are on like
20.
20 seconds, I think, so far. So this is already over average. Average is on 23. That was
Okay,
a
it was
double arm attack.
27.
Those are the strongest ones. So I think it was like 30 seconds. Still pretty alright.
It was 27.
Sometimes
That
the
fight is
troopers will
RNG,
do- I mean,
full
the horrors
RNG.
will do their attack. Sometimes they like to just yell and make loud noises.
Can take between
and that's
4
actually very
seconds
bad,
and a
because
minute
they
10.
don't attack while they're yelling.
This one took 27 seconds. It's not that bad
Okay,
actually.
health is a little bit low, so I'm a little bit scared. But
The
good thing
average is
we
about
actually can
23
use
seconds.
Recoveries. If I'm in trouble, I'm gonna use one. So
Here,
I think I
Michael's
fucked up this menu a
entering
little bit.
the End part of the chapter. He's basically being told.
Apart from that, of course.
You need items, don't you?
What happened to
Where's
your
the?
menu?
Oh no.
He needs to plant some C4 basically. He needs to magically enchant it and blow this whole area to
Yeah, that was
smithereens.
kind of
So,
slow menu.
That's kind of the plot going on, and these voices are telling him to do that. And then there's going to be a nice little escape sequence, a la, is it RE? Which RE?
Almost all of them.
All of them? Oh, okay. Well, all of the REs and also Metroid, so this might look a little familiar if you've played those games.
I've honestly never played a
Also,
Resident Evil
try to
game.
go for the no magic message there, but I missed it.
you can't say that. You're not allowed to say that.
Not me. I've definitely played all of them. Every single,
Nice.
I think 8
Okay,
of them.
that makes it even.
Okay, cool. It cancels out.
Nice.
All right,
All right,
and
we're
now-
gonna do a magic pool. Tell me about it, Gibger.
Yep, and as I mentioned before, she's doing a magic pool. She chose the green one to keep her stamina up and restored. It's actually really important in this chapter. You're running by, you just run by a lot of monsters, no combat. It's not hard to find your way out. The level changes enough that it pretty much guides you all the way out. But if you run out of sanity, every time you get a sanity hit from a creature, instead you lose some of your health. And there's a lot of creatures on the way out, so if you don't keep your sanity
This
up,
part suck as a kid.
next thing you know, you find yourself taking a lot
Yeah,
of damage.
if you spend time killing
Once you
enemies,
take enough damage, you actually
it could be
even
hard,
slow
I
down.
guess.
Your character
It's still a
is
lot of
injured
time,
enough,
but
they have trouble moving. And with the fact that there's a couple of horrors coming up in this last area, if you're moving slowly here, those horrors will take you out. It's a small thing, but it can kill a run if you don't have that.
So keep your sanity up.
the
chat.
music's too quiet. Yeah,
Remember.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's either people that haven't played the game or all that. Like, I guess we could have turned the volume a little bit louder on my end, and that's on GDQ part though. I can only do as much. But yeah, the one thing is that, because a lot of people don't know that you just don't get music, you know, once you have low sanity.
Very important.
I lost more than one run because of lag of sanity
we're
pools
getting
there.
to the
Yeah,
last one. So this is gonna be chapter 12.
I lost one,
Alex herself.
and then
the
I think
legend.
Sir came up with
And she's gonna
the
fight against
with the
Pius,
pull
but
strat.
Before that, we actually need to
After I lost
complete some
that.
stuff on the mansion. Okay.
So back then we used to have just a very high
Sorry about that,
HP,
because
and it was
wanna
kind of
concentrate
enough
right
because
here.
No
of
problem.
Michael's high
so
HP.
To start off with, she's going to do some more no magic messages to avoid some sanity effects. Like I said, no more explosion. We're going to pick up a package, which will give us the Gladius. Is there 2 Gladiuses? No, wait, what does that give you?
I have
Oh,
never lost a run to anything. Nice job,
There
Sir.
is enchanted gladius
You did it.
on the package if you do like a very long quest.
No
on the
sanity, no
game.
music.
You won't see it on
Music
this
gets
one,
replaced
but
by
again, if
spooky
you wanna
noises.
see an
That's what
enchanted
happens
gladius,
when you are low sanity.
we just gotta get 100%.
Just got to get 100%
on the
in.
next one.
Yep, we just got to get that.
By crying women, we're chanting
so
and
coming
shit.
up, there's
Yeah,
gonna be a light
babies
puzzle, basically.
crying to
She's gonna try to finish this as
dying
the same time that
people.
she's summoning a trapper.
the
with Lindsay's
pew
chapter when he showed up and he was like an
Elia.
invisible guy with a
Yo,
floating gun.
that
It's a
thing.
similar thing. There's going to be a cutscene that shows off
Yep,
the basement.
yep,
the next
yeah.
place you want to go. And Alex isn't invisible in this cutscene like with Lindsay, but she is off screen. So as the cutscene progresses, as she does multiple things at the same time that overlap, she's just going to warp straight to the basement, and that's called the basement warp, and she's just going to progress from there.
So here we go, we summon a trapper, then we finish the puzzle. Trapper allows us to move during the second part of the cutscene, which shows you how this plate,
Demon of
this
Khmer.
steel plate, it's moving. You're not supposed to move during that cutscene, but thanks to the trapper we can do it. And even though the plate doesn't actually move, the flag gets set up, so you can go down. It's just an illusion.
Here
The
we are,
control
we're
speed
entering
run.
Engad,
Nice.
Is it the Forgotten City?
Yeah,
Forbidden City?
I'm unfamiliar with that,
Forsaken
It's
City,
the bad
maybe?
city.
It's the
but I
bad
figure it
city.
was
City,
a
yeah.
reference, of course.
It's just chilling under the mansion like we saw earlier. There was some damage done to it by some guy named Edward.
Good
who
thing we got the
apparently is
flying
Alex's
gun then,
grandfather, but we didn't
to
really
get
see
that-
So
that
it's a
reference.
little bit busted right now. Alex has to go around and try to repair it because she's going
Bad
to try to
juju
cast
CD.
a massive spell. Pius has been taking 2,000 years to summon his ancient into this plane of reality. It's going to destroy everything, enslave humanity, and so forth. So Alex is going to basically use a 9-point spell
Who
using
fit
these
in the pool?
gigantic pillars in the
Holy
city.
shit.
Each point is one pillar, and she's going to
Electric
summon an
bee.
ancient of her own that will cancel the other agent out. And,
I'm never
we'll
gonna
have
see
an
Enga the
ancient
same
battle.
way.
Yeah, there's actually a very interesting...
A really
like,
good game. I
rock
think
scissors,
demonic,
rock, paper, scissors.
demonic robots
Scissors, paper. How do you say
speedruns
it?
control.
There you go. And it's kind of like...
Demonic
it works just like
wanted to
Pokemon.
speedrun this
It's
game
the
at some
exact same
point,
color
but I don't know
right?
what happened. I think
Oh, reminder to save
they
it for
even
this.
got the Japanese copy.
Thanks.
I was looking forward for
Yeah, when
that.
Edward cast his big dispel, it damaged the city and took all its power out. So Pandora, as Alex, is repairing that tablet, putting the artifacts on, and recharging the city.
SCP
Now
Foundation Wiki.
Now the city is nothing more than one big
What is the
9-point
SCP Foundation Wiki?
spellcasting machine.
Yeah, it took 2,000 years for Pius. It's gonna take us less than 2 hours to do it.
Pius has got to pick up the slack. He's slow.
Exactly.
Clearly not a speed
Now we
runner.
can finally talk about multicast.
Multicast. What?
Yep. Yeah, multicast is just you do a free cast, as mentioned before, and once the free cast happens, you can go ahead and cast the second one, and you can chain multiple spells this way.
I actually managed to crash there during a practice run
Enchant
because I'm a
item and
dummy.
Cancel to let you move, then cast another spell. Do another
Multi-pass.
enchant item and move, and cancel to move. The only problem is if you do too many of those, you crash the game. So you have to be very careful of when and how you do those.
I played this game myself, but it's
That
hard.
has happened to me though.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Like
say
that.
what the actual regular mechanics are, what's
No,
like
not
crazy
recently,
optimal
especially.
speed tech. Yeah,
Exactly.
that could
Not
happen.
like 2 days ago. Okay.
Forget about it.
It's a giant collaborative writing project. The SCP Foundation is a fictional organization that secures, contains, and protects anomalous and dangerous objects. You probably like it. Leans into a lot of horror. Interesting. You have to remember, everyone has to remember, I am not actually a horror enthusiast. So just remember that. Me speedrun. No, I might like it anyways. Salva de Gringo, exactly. Yeah, no, but it's kind of cool that you talk about that because there was a question on Spike's interview that we didn't go into because of lack of time, but it was the second question on the list of questions that he gave me. That it was like Spike would say, "I really love this genre. What is it?" Like he was a horror runner himself in the past, so it's really cool to play this and all that. What is it for you that makes you come back to this, to run this and all that in terms of the genre and the horror genre? And my answer, and we talked about this before the interview actually, was actually, I don't really care about horror games that much. I do like some of them, but I'm not like the biggest fan of horror games. I'm more of an RPG person or stuff like that.
what I like the most about Eternal is all the non-horror things. You know, the magic, the sanity. I mean, sanity kind of leans into horror, but there wasn't that many games at that point that were horror and were dealing with that sense of sanity. And I guess the more cosmical thing, maybe, but not really in the sense of comics horror. I never read any cosmic horror in my life. I'm not really necessarily a fan of that. I like it, I respect it, but I just like it, you know, ancient stuff. Like I like the theme of it without even knowing that it was cosmic horror back then, you know, because it felt different. And also the battle system, you know, being completely deterministic compared to like all Resident Evils, where you shoot one thing 20 times and you don't know if it's gonna die or not. Whereas here, the battle was fully deterministic like an action game. And I like that. Yeah, so all the aspects that are basically not from the horror genre is what made me like this game. And all that. And also, like, yeah, a lot of the story. Playing with a lot of characters, things like that. So it's things that are not necessary from horror genre. And Spike said that actually that was a very good answer, but we couldn't get to that to that question.
So now we're gonna set up for warm warp. Exactly, not ground warp, but warm warp.
Warp. Yes. It does involve a worm or two. Worm warp involves a puzzle in this next room. Normally you're supposed to sneak on this purple section of the floor. Otherwise there's kind of like a hallucination state. There's
Damn, is your AGDQ run? Don't worry, there's the bot is available.
And then you have to regain.
And we're also watching
watching
party right now.
If that happens, then
it's gonna be on YouTube.
You reset your position
sometime
to
soon,
the origin
I guess.
point of the room, and it just so happens that a bunch of these rooms in this place have their own origin points. So keep your eye on the sanity meter. It's going to restore.
That no magic message or cancel spell was so far away from the loading zone. That never worked. What happened here is I got lucky. I got bleeding walls because Alex, if you pay attention to her, well, it's really hard to see, but I saw it. She was looking up, and that means bleeding walls.
Basically, with that summoning the two trappers there, it messes with the
Which alignment is the fastest? Oh yeah, right now.
Carries forward this weird sepia hallucination.
Although with the new route
to get her sanity up to that threshold that I mentioned, and
no, I guess Ouya's still because of Karim.
Puzzle that is super long.
Oh yeah, this is the fastest.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the old days for a little bit.
SBU isn't horror in the traditional sense. It's more like what if folklore meets creepypasta were real. Okay, that's yeah, that sounds kind of interesting though. It's more of a like I don't know how to call that. Because there is like I think something that I really like about not horror itself but horror themes. For example, Undertale is not a horror game, but it has a lot of horror themes. And also all the things that go around Undertale, like kind of the creepypasta and like all the Gaster stuff and things like that. And I really like that. And I don't think that horror is the best word to describe that aspect. I don't really know of a better word because it's something very particular, like that goes usually around. It's like meta horror, maybe, I don't know. I do like that.
Right here, sepia effect. You just need those scan lines to be complete.
I would love sepia scan lines. That sounds hilarious.
While entering concepts, I see.
Okay, there's some interesting.
I didn't explode the trappers here. That was a mistake.
Yeah, so
okay.
This is target running. As we've said before, trappers, they don't.
Uyos, where was your name in LOL?
What the
nice.
game intends for you to do is to sneak around them. So
nobody got the reference. I feel you. I actually.
What we do is it looks a bit.
I
like
name on Ragnarok. I name a character Celosaf.
Basically, you just pump the run.
It was a high
button,
wizard.
So you get a bit of extra speed without alerting the trappers.
Or was it Uyos? I don't remember. I think I did both.
And incoming is number 3, the Zoo of Enga.
And I think I did a maybe a whitesmith named Chaturga or something like that. This is like pure brute force.
He comes in this room and 3 different.
I think
monsters
Celota was
burst
my
out, you have to
professor,
fight
maybe.
them. Now is Alex.
It's more like
You normally-
intelligent.
You go ahead and
I don't know.
cast those same monsters and load them back in.
And the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
rats of the run.
So I think my
Hope you
high
enjoy it.
wizard was
But it turns
Uyov
out,
because it's like pure
if you watch
magic,
a cutscene,
and then the
the
professor
barrier that
was
keeps you from
Celota
leaving this
because
room
it's
just never
it deals more
disappears.
with the mind. At least on
That's all you have
Ragnarok,
to do.
Professor Scholar
A little fun
kind of goes
Easter egg
for
is in that room.
mind
In
tricks,
the
you know.
background, some of the models in there are old models from the N64 version of Eternal Darkness that they were working on.
You also saw Pandora cast that sanity pool, so that's floating behind her. And she's timing this exactly so that as soon as she goes into the next room,
Is there
it'll,
skating in Dead
connect
Rising?
from
Yeah,
the
pretty
dimension
much.
For the sanity, and it'll reset the second
That run
effect,
was hilarious
and it'll
too.
warp her to the origin point of that room, not the worm room. And that would
It's
be
fucking
the
skating
worm
through
warp.
zombies.
It skips a whole bind section. We saw that earlier where she bound one of the horrors, and it was just 2 of them. Now it's 3 of them.
Another recommended
and
run,
it's a
for sure.
very slow, miserable mess for them to fight each other and clear the barrier. But
So I missed
there you
one.
go. Now it's gone.
I missed one
It's actually
assignment
really
right here.
lucky that
Otherwise,
happened
I'm doing a
because
poll right there.
In the original worm room, you actually just get teleported back to the teleporter you used to get in. But for some reason, in that room, it teleports you to the entrance. It's very useful.
Thank you, developers, for putting
And the
that.
pass is always sepia, yeah.
Okay, so we're going for number 2. So this gives us time for one donation.
All right, you've got it. Unintendo donates $64 and they say, amazing Eternal Darkness run, Pandora Jane. So when do you think you'll be playing Eternal Darkness Sanity's Redemption at a GDQ event? what do you
That was a
mean?
good one.
Just a sanity effect?
Yeah, no, that's
you so much
for
for
the
that
next
donation.
one.
That's very inside joke. I like it.
It's coming soon.
Yeah. That's gonna be my next
Nice.
speed game, I think. Okay, so this reveal right here, we're making a reveal. You know, there's a lot of like thoughtful routing into Enga, like which parts
The
we
pussy
do
cam.
first. You want to connect different parts that you know have like similar puzzles. So this reveal right here reveals a piece of the floor.
Yeah, so
that
you can
you're not
avoid that
allowed to step into
sneak
because
right
I guess
there
you're too
if you
scared
don't miss
or
the pool
something,
like I
because
did.
There's actually nothing bad
Or
there,
rather,
whatever.
if you
actually there's
actually
an invisible
assign
wall. Okay, it's because of that.
correctly.
But yeah, we also use this to reveal some trappers. Okay, so there's gonna be some trappers incoming after this pillar right here. We're gonna activate this one early, so it doesn't bother me.
Glitch
all the way
behavior
back.
glitches.
And then on this room, if you don't enter with a reveal, you're gonna see a very long cutscene of these trappers getting invisible. But that cutscene never happens if you can already see them, okay? So more target running right here. Just so they don't notice me. There's still a bunch here. I'm gonna try to make them explode if I can. There's one, and here's the other one. There you go. Nice.
For casual play, another option instead of trying to deal with that is if you just cast a 3-point magic attack that will hit every trapper in the room and kill them. They only have 1 hit point.
Yeah, we actually used to do that, like on 2019, or I guess even 2020, before we got tire running.
Ooh, there might be some
Ooh,
fireworks
okay.
right here.
Hopefully.
I think I could
Some
activate
special
the green
friends
one
hanging
now
out for
that
you.
I think about it.
Let's see if I can do it for you.
It had like
They wanna take
good
you for a trip.
distance.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
With
I
better
couldn't
luck, you can
activate the
actually.
green one.
Yeah, with good luck, the green one is between the 2 red ones, and you can just get a whole light show there.
Yeah, so an extra pause here because
So,
I didn't do
last,
my assignments before,
Assignment of the run.
and I
What
also
am I
just
doing
panic
here?
a little bit.
Doing a free guess to get a pull into a shield. So there you can see very well with this camera how multicast works and how you can link 2 spells together. So just to put it on perspective, and you know, like, so you can understand how cool FreeCast is. You know, back then we used to stand still during spells, and when you have spells of level 7, you know, that's 5 seconds. Every time you do a spell of level 7, 5 seconds you have to put, you know, your controller down. You're not doing anything. You're just waiting. You also cannot get damage, otherwise it kind of gets cancelled. Now you can just move all the time. So Enga actually, it's now a much more entertaining segment because of that.
Now we're about to find out if we picked the correct rooms.
Nice.
We did.
Yay!
Free cast might be the most important trick we've discovered, just because not only the time savings from the casting themselves, but all the additional tricks that have been discovered because of that.
Let's see if we got this. It's 8 frames for this
I
to
love
work,
this visual
and then
cue.
2 frames that crash the game. And
Yeah,
it
so you're
seems that
wrong a
we
little bit,
didn't get
and
the
I thought
2
you were
bad
really, really
frames.
pretty.
There we go.
Like, we got it. So
How you doing?
here you're able to move during that cutscene.
Never played
and
this
if you
game,
can
but I
change the
remember
camera
as a
during
kid
that
in
movement,
Nintendo
you're
Bar.
gonna
Yeah, there
cancel
was a
the
Nintendo
cutscene.
Bar of
The
these.
thing is, this
I never
barrier
got it.
only
I would love
appears
to
during
have
the
it.
cutscene. So you're able to
Because I don't know
cancel
what's
it.
there.
Voila, there's no barrier.
Kind of want to see the
And you
pictures.
can just go
Because there's
on.
not a lot of art of this game, so it probably has some good art.
But yeah, that one
Like
can be
unreleased
very scary.
or
That's
something.
what I said before. So something for
Or
you
that is hard to get on the internet.
to take into account is I've been saving this entire run. I'm losing like a minute on saving.
As a kid,
just to make the
Christ.
marathon safe, you know, because this game doesn't have autosave. You know, it's some other
Advertisements and
times
pictures,
we had
yeah.
to save manually. I did another save there for the last fight.
Like that's the thing. What I like about Nintendo Power, like for example, we had with my cousins, we had the Nintendo Power for Ocarina of Time back then, and I love that thing so much because it had artwork from like the bosses and like Link, like the sickest artwork of Link. This one where he's like holding the bow with the arrow like this, and stuff like that, and like, you know, the Goma artwork, the first boss, that is, you know, not a hard boss at all and all that, but the artwork is so amazing. It looks so fucking like creepy and all that. I love that shit. So I wonder if the Eternal version had some stuff like that. Not really the only old, but yeah, no, I almost have 30. I'm like almost a month ago away. I'm sorry, from 30 actually.
Which is Pious. So I'm probably not gonna be talking a whole lot during Pious unless something hype or something very bad happens. Okay? So you commentators,
You're not
take it
old,
from
sir.
Yeah, here's Pius. So they're both summoning their ancients, and
Nice.
while that's going on, Pius and Alex have to fight each other with their weapons of choice. Alex has a sword, and that's all? Question mark?
Back then, the
And
graphics
Pius
in the
has
manual
a
magazine
staff,
could look
made
better.
of,
Yes.
A spine and like hips on top of it. It's pretty badass.
That's something that happened a lot on, for example, on even the SNES era. Rareware did a great job. So I think they actually like pre-render all their stuff into 3D and got sprites from there. But that means not for the game, but for artwork at least, they got some 3D models, and that's why the artwork of Donkey Kong looks like so fucking amazing, like all pretty much 3D, you know.
Basically, they're gonna have to be. Pandora's gonna be hitting Pius with Alex.
It really looks like I'm
and
casting a
then
spell.
In between phases, the ghosts of all of the people that have succumbed to the darkness over the course of the game are gonna be coming back to fight against the artifact that Pius has, and see what happens.
Also, no crash. Let's go. That's the first thing that has to align for us. No crash on the pause.
Yep. Make sure all the right items are set up in the inventory. Otherwise, you crash on your first pause.
The
Play Lost
sound
Vikings?
effects are random, but
Yeah,
we can
I
kind
played
of
Lost Vikings
manipulate
too,
them
though.
by positioning ourselves correctly. So far, this is a really good artifact.
The Lost Vikings
phase
one is
just
also
because
great.
of how close it spawned each time.
I speedrun the second one.
Cannot be good all the time. So we got a slightly far away that's what we call a bad artifact.
Looks like a tooth. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
just like Nono
commentator's
said.
curse right there.
It's a fucking
The moment they
tooth.
said it's good.
Exactly.
ancient tooth.
Yep.
You
Ancient
can
teeth.
control it. You can just get better chances, and that's why I was trying to get. We call that artifact manipulation. To try to get pies on very specific spots of the fight. But yeah, once you kind of lose your streak of good artifacts, it's really hard to go back to good artifacts later.
It's really important not
Fights
to
with a
get
pelvis.
hit during any of the ghost phases, because that brings you back to Alex, and then you have to hit the artifact again and then do that ghost again. So it loses a lot of time every time you get hit as a ghost.
Pius was so far away.
Garrett, you're moving
This
so
whole
much.
sequence also really helps demonstrate the difference in character speed. Because now we saw how good Kareem was running. Now you see poor Max is just really not.
It's a good
moving
max.
very
You
fast
always
at all.
want
Okay,
to,
buddy. Oh, you can do it.
or at least I like to get a spell during max, because then I don't need to think about Pius being bad.
Oh, these artifacts.
Yeah,
This is terrible.
just moving from one end of the hall to the other.
Yeah. Alright. We're gonna go for the last one right here.
We'll also see.
With our boy.
We'll see one ghost.
Sir, not a.
We have no idea who this is.
Yeah, I don't know who this is. But he's our boy anyways.
Sir, not appearing in this game.
These horror games with the cut content.
Another
Where's the artifact?
good
There it is.
slow
Okay,
character
this is
with
very
a
precision.
All
a
right,
spell on
so coming up,
Roberto. That's
Pandora's
also
gonna
good.
use animation
I was
canceling
matching
to
so
use the
hard
most
here, but we
broken
didn't got the
weapon in
frame.
Stack a bunch of damage. If you remember, she did an enchant a couple rooms ago. That'll come into effect. She has to have really good positioning because too close.
And this was
And,
a Santag.
it does,
I saw a Santag
makes
right
Pius
there,
warp away,
so
and
this
too
is a
far away,
shield.
it doesn't do as
That's
much
why I'm
damage,
doing
so-
anim cancels, just in case, instead of attack
Yeah,
cancels.
after a while he gets.
If you
some
see a
shields
Regomore, you
that
can like
really
safely
nullify
do
your damage.
attack cancels.
Oh, she did it.
Also, we got right at the end, I was like almost point blank. So when you hit Pius point blank, he's gonna teleport, but you can actually hit him another time with an animation cancel, and that's how I kill it right there before I teleport.
The Gladius for the first part of the fight, but once the artifact is destroyed, any enchanted weapon will work. And
Yeah,
well, who
and
needs a
time-
sword when you've got a shotgun?
Time is coming in 3, 2, 1, time.
All
There you
right.
go.
Nice.
Nice. Alright, that was pretty good. How was the time?
Oh my
Nice.
god.
Whoa.
Sub 130 with the saves, Jesus.
That's the third ever sub 130.
The Roberta skip was so good.
Nice.
Sub 130
Yeah.
and marathon. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, that's really good. So you know, something interesting. If I wouldn't do a record last week, this would have been a record.
Yeah,
But
true.
since I did that, my record now is 126 something. So, but yeah. In any
Lots of
case,
high
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before last week, when I did my 126, the record was 129. How much it was? Was it late 129? No, it was kind of low. It was 129.21. So this wouldn't be in record. But of course, I needed to do a better record, of course, you know, because I cannot get a world record at GDQ or a marathon. I would feel bad. I need to put my game as an optimized game. No, and it's good to have the other one. Like the 126 was sick. So, but yeah, this was a very good run. I'm gonna give some final thoughts and all that. I actually need a BRB, a short one, because I'm about to pee myself. So I'll be right back. I don't know for how much, but I do need one very much. Very, very much. It's too much water. That's the thing when I talk too much. I drink too much water. Okay, we're gonna go for Kage King. Always a great option. And I'll be back. Stick around. Welcome back. That is Doing the Wrong Thing by Kaki King. Chill little song, I like it. Kaki King is a great guitarist. Love her work very much. The Roberto thing is confusing because the Prince of Persia speedrunners nickname a guard Roberto. Oh, I see. I still don't know which guard it is. Currently, it's the yellow guard at the start, level 7. Interesting. Almost the same chapter as Roberto. Roberto is chapter 8. That would have been fun. Very, very good run.
Congrats.
Lots of hype in chat for you.
Nice. So, I hope everyone really liked this game. This game is awesome. You should really run this game if you want to do it. Have a lot of tutorials out there. We are a small yet active community. If you ask anything on the Discord, we have a Discord for speedruns of the game. We're gonna answer there. I'm always willing to help runners. Also, if you don't want to run it, just play it. It's a great game. Like, it holds up very well. Awesome game for its time, and even today. Just remember to save, because it's not out of save. Remember to do that. Like you remind me in the middle of the run. And something very important, I want to give some shoutouts. So I need to give big shoutouts to Sir. Sir, like I mentioned on the interview before, is the one great MVP, master legend glitch hunter of this game. Most of the technology we have in this game has been discovered by Sir. He doesn't run the game, but he just keeps discovering stuff. Eternal Darkness is in such a place thanks to Sir discovering stuff, and then me pushing, the game with the things that Sir discovered. Also, shoutouts to Toast, that has helped us a lot hacking the game and helping us with just all the hacking abilities you can imagine, basically. And of course, the old runners, like Swiken, making some big stuff before Wormtalon, and of course, Nono, Givegear, you also run from this era. And, the oldest SDA era too, like Mad Andy, Spiral Out, and Ulscope, all very important. Everyone did something for this game, and everyone else is on the Discord. Thank you for all your help.
Yeah, I missed the shoutouts to Jove for also cracking a lot of cutscene storage. So I missed that one, and the other one I missed was the Cove. Also another very good runner.
And yeah,
just couldn't remember every single name.
And follow Pandora
Catcam, yes.
Jane at twitch.tv.
Thank you, Nova, for that. Yeah, she's Freya. It's my cat. One of my cats. Alright, so 15 hours under 15 hours, 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe I've been giving too much estimate. Like maybe next time it'll be less estimate if I run this again at a marathon. I just been extremely safe with the estimate, but that's fine. So some finishing thoughts on this. Put it there. So something to notice, this was at 129. Now it was marathon, and I think the only like big mistake is not getting bronze skip. I think that was it, and the rest was like there was some sloppy menu here and there for sure, but I think that was about it. So when you fail bronze skip but you actually go for it and then you failed it, you lose a minute pretty much. So that's a minute. Without that, it was 1/28. Then, because it's a marathon run, I lose about a minute just saving. If you get like, let's say, if you save the game, every save is like 4 seconds, more or less. Sometimes it's about 5. So if I save like 12 times, between 12 and 15 times, that's a minute, basically. So that's another minute. That was at 1:27. And then if you discount the sloppy menus, which is a couple seconds, because this was a low 129, that would mean a low 127, that would have been a 126. So this was world record pace without marathon things, and of course with a better Lindsay, which means an awesome run. I'm very happy that I could get the third ever sub 1. It's second place too, like second place even taking my old run. You know, the obsolete run. No. There, listen. It's always, you always have to look at it from the perspective of the runner. Like, from an outsider's perspective, of course, it's super fast, but we know exactly where we could have done better. It's just some analysis. Most of the, like, for example, menu on Max was perfect, absolutely perfect. But my menu on Michael, for example, was fairly sloppy for, you know, for my level, let's say. And that's because I was nervous, plus I was talking to. You know, it's a marathon. You're thinking about too many things. So sometimes you just forget some stuff. So, yeah, there's specific menus that were sloppy. And that's probably about 10 seconds loss. Yeah. But yeah, for example, the one on Mike, the one on Max, I'll show that one to you so you can see what it is. Like, for me, it's a perfect menu. Because that was perfect.
A lot of time spent.
So right here, this menu was absolutely perfect for my, like, taste or my standards, let's say.
You could actually even stack those together to cast multiple spells at once. This is done a little bit later, but that's something you have to be very careful. If there are enough...
That's how I want to get every single menu. Okay? But then if you look at Michael, there's a chance that you don't notice the difference, by the way, and that's fine.
Recover. If I'm in trouble, I'm gonna use.
So look at this menu, and notice when there's nothing happening.
Entering the end part of the chapter, he's basically being told.
Not this part, because this is an effect. Ignore that.
Items, don't you?
But after this.
Oh no.
He needs to
so there I lose like a second. There I lose another second.
This whole area to smithereens. So that's kind of the plot going on. And these voices are telling.
There I lose another second.
And then there's going to be a nice little escape.
So it was like 3 or 4 seconds on that menu, because I stopped to think, and I shouldn't do that. You know, like, it should be automatic, like on Max. I know it's hard to to notice, and that's fine, and that's because you don't run the game. But just know that it is like that. You know, like it is, the menu is the highest skill ceiling, I think, on this run, or one of the highest, at least one of the ones that you can really master. How are you doing, Rena Fuego? Speedrunners don't think. Yeah, you want to get to that point where you only think when something unexpected happens, or actually, you know, when you need to improvise and stuff like that. Of course, it's like this thing from, was it Bruce Lee or something like that? A punch is just a punch. A punch is not just a punch. Then you need to think, okay, what am I doing with the punch actually? Does it matter how I punch? The energy that goes through my position and all that. But then the next level is, a punch is really just a punch, because you don't need to think all that while you punch, because there's no time. You just gotta punch. So you do all your study, you internalize it, and then you come back full circle, and things just go back to natural, and you don't need to think about them again. It was great watching your run yesterday. Give you a follow afterwards. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. As a viewer, you might not notice what loses time and what's unavoidable if you don't know the run very well. Yeah, it happens a lot. Menus are muscular memory, or you need to think what to do. Most of the time, they're muscular memory. yeah, it's a sequence of inputs. The only moments you need to think about it is when you made a mistake somewhere. For example, or just react to something in the route. For example, on I had to do that on Max. On Max, I spent an extra bullet on the horror, which means my bullets are gonna run out in the inventory, and one inventory slot is gonna move this way, and this one is gonna move here, and then the key is gonna be on a different spot. So there I need to think, like, okay, I need to press like right before. I cannot just match A when I pause. Normally, if I don't waste that bullet, I can just match, and then it's kind of like muscle memory. But yeah. Have you been doing well? We're doing great. Mi cerebrito me duele. espera un momento, cerebrito. Ato ahí, cerebrito. That was... Alright, so... do I have anything else? I have a little something that maybe I can show. Yo, crap, how's it going? Are you gonna do the pyramid? There you go. Alright, let me see if I can... Let's see, that is there. Okay, so that might work. I'll do this little something and call it a day. Oh, you actually have two kinds of paragons now. You have the Chaturga paragon and you have the OG paragon too. Do you know that you can do spells in my chat? You can do spells. Like, where is it? Here. Like that. You won't be able to watch live, but still, the Sonic 2-player 2-controller run is tomorrow. Ooh, sounds interesting. It was a whole Sonic block. Yeah, I need to see like what other runs I'm interested in. Let me put some back music. Down here. That was today earlier? I see. I watched the DKC2 race, was very tight, like a second away or a couple seconds away. Jesus. Is it the Hee-Ha-Ho run? Okay, so I recommend Dead Rising. Tormented Souls, of course. Fate Chapter 2 was pretty good. This is an hilarious run. Payon. I want to see We Love Katamari. I'm probably gonna see that one later. Slay the Spire. I'm definitely looking forward for that. GeoGuessr. Why not? What else? I'm curious about this. It's not the Octo expansion. Like, I've seen the Octo expansion. It's pretty cool. Zelda Adventure. Okay. Why not? Lament of Innocence. I actually want to see this. It's like the only Castlevania I've ever played. Like if this is, yeah. If this is actually hosted my second hotfix run. Eternal Darkness. Looking forward for the Hades, all weapons. Resident General I'm really loving more and more. Nice. Super Monkey Ball Race was really good. I'm probably gonna check that out too. Your user run are wild. Can miss Half-Life 2. Oh yeah, that's another one. But yeah, I kinda want this one. I want this one. This one's so good. This one's so good. I wanna watch. This game is so funny to play with friends. And runners just destroy it. Looking forward for that. I don't remember if I saw Resident Evil Village. Oh, I guess I saw a little bit of it on Velocity Gamers. Marvel it up. Yes, those runs are amazing. I want to see that too. And Bread, yeah, that too. Rockman and Ford. There's so many good games this year. Holy shit. I want to look this too. It's Rockman though. I prefer Forte, but I'm good. I'm still gonna see it. Let's see. Casio Marvel. I wonder what that is. Deltarune. Yeah. That's definitely gonna make it as a bonus game. I want to see that. Alright. Airborne is back to GDQ, yeah. Sekiro blindfolded, yeah, that must be crazy. The Pumpkin Jack, yeah, I heard a lot of people talking a lot of amazing stuff about the Pumpkin Jack one. Do you have Keep Talking or Nobody Explodes? I do have it. Yeah, we have played on some meetings. It's very fun. Actually, I used to have the manual, like we printed the manual to have it right there and play with a notebook, you know, with friends. I don't know if I still have it. Maybe I still have it somewhere. I didn't see that Sekiro was blindfold. Yeah, that's crazy. Can do Morse code and Keep Talking is so hard. Yeah, Morse code, tricky wires, and tricky wires suck so much. What is the other one? The Labyrinth is scary, but I love it. I do fail it a lot, but I love the concept of the Labyrinth. Mind-blowing Trackmania action going on right now. Nice. Yeah, Trackmania has an insane big community and super dedicated community. Cog is Pooch. Tricky Wires is the one with the band dry irons? Yes. Like, I don't know if that's I don't remember if that was the name, but I just call them Tricky Wires because they're tricky. Yeah, the fucking band dry irons is so hard. Baba is such a good game. Alright. Zoe. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, so my boy. No. Listen, it's not my fault. No just likes to stream when I finish. So I have no option but to rate him. Say hello to Salty Boy. Actually, that is the rate message. Rate message is Salty Boy. He's gonna understand, don't worry. And yeah, bye-bye. See you next time. We're gonna rate Nono, and yeah. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.